Boa noite, estamos aí já terça-feira, 8 horas da noite, para mais uma entrevista aqui do superreef, e dessa vez com convidados muito especiais. As entrevistas elas vão ter a primeira parte em português, em que eu vou estar trazendo os questionamentos, e posteriormente eu vou estar traduzindo para o nosso convidado. Talvez vai parecer um pouquinho longo as perguntas, mas é porque eu tenho que entender todo o contexto e passar as respostas para vocês, procurar passar as ideias também. Hoje, nós vamos estar recebendo o senhor Ehsan Dashti, o proprietário e fundador da Triton, e junto com ele nós vamos estar tendo o Jefferson Stutz, que é o representante aqui no Brasil da Triton. Então, sejam muito bem-vindos. Primeiro eu vou passar a palavra para o Jeff. Jeff, seja bem-vindo.
Olá, Edu, tudo bem? Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, pessoal. Como é que vão?
Então, e agora nós vamos estar aí com o senhor Ehsan. Ehsan, zuerst ich möchte sagen, dass ich wirklich freue mich, Sie hier zu haben. Vielen Dank für seine Zeit, damit Sie uns zusammen unterhalten können.
Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen. Keine Sorge. Nah, it's all good. Don't worry about it. I'm pretty happy. It's not in the evening time, so my kids are awake and they're running around. Don't worry about them. Maybe you see them, but anyway. So yeah, very happy to be here. No worries, Edo. No worries. Always a pleasure.
That's great. That's great. Ehsan, as I mentioned over there, we are going to do these questions in turns. I'm going to ask you the questions, and then you try to give me short answers so I can translate and not lose the context.
Yes,
sometimes
short will be difficult.
Might ask you 2 or 3 times, but it will work fine, I hope.
It's all right. No worries.
Okay. So, Ehsan,
yes.
The idea of these interviews is that we ask and know a little bit more about your person, and then later we go for professional and in your area of expertise. Yes. So, first let's talk about yourself. Tell us how is your personal trajectory? You mentioned to me that you have 38 years.
Yes.
How you got into the hobby, how was your first reef tanks, and how Triton start. Então, Ehsan, por favor, nos conte como que foi a tua trajetória pessoal, como foram os seus primeiros tanques, quando tu decidiu fazer do hobby uma profissão.
So, yeah, first off, I look like 25, right? So this is pretty good. But I'm 38. Yeah, I started my first reef tank and I was 12 years old. So this was in my little, room, and it was pretty weird. I hadn't had any filter. I hadn't had anything really, that was very sophisticated. And the first coral I grow was the white Xenia. And back then, when I was 12, it was a very expensive coral, though. So this is like the way it starts. Yeah. So I sold it to the shops, and I kind of changed against fish and stuff. And it was a really little aquarium, like 250 liters or something like that. But this is how it starts.
O primeiro aquário dele ele teve quando ele tinha 12 anos. E isso, no tempo atrás, o coral que ele tinha era uma Xenia. Esse foi o primeiro coral que ele teve. E era difícil de tu conseguir manter elas no aquário. E ele ia trocando os corais por produtos nas lojas de aquarismo, e assim ele começou. E era um aquário de mais ou menos 200 litros.
Yeah, so and then after that time, I was at school, so I just grew. And my dad is a chemist, my mom is a pharmacist, so it was always a bit of that, what you say, like das Erbe. I don't know the English word in the moment, from my side of my dad, I try to kind of chemically understand the aquarium. But in times of school and stuff, it was more than a hobby than it was science, right? And at one point I went to study chemistry and production technology, and it worked out to get a bit more than a hobby, right? So just go on.
O pai dele é químico e a mãe dele é farmacêutica. Então ele sempre entendeu por esse lado, por estar entendendo a química, entendendo como o aquário funciona. Mas sempre foi um hobby. Quando ele entrou para a universidade para fazer a questão dos estudos, onde ele estudou, was haben Sie in der Universität gelernt?
Chemie und Produktionstechnologie. Yeah, it's
química e tecnologia da produção foi o que ele estudou, e é aí que ele viu possibilidade de transformar isso de um hobby para uma profissão.
Yeah, so and that time then there was a lot of things. So we moved from one city to the other. We were always a bit moving because originally I'm a refugee from Iran, so it's like we refugee to Germany at one point.
You were born in Germany or you were born in Iran?
No, I was born in Iran, but because of the regime over there.
79, you came to Germany?
No, I was with 6 years. I came to Germany. So 82, I'm born. So it was 80, kind of 88 when I went.
But the problems happened over there. It was in 69, right? 79.
No, it was the revolution was way before that. So when the revolution happened, then you got, the first Khomeini, the first guy that was like and then he put a lot of people in jail and stuff. So you got a really big presence. All the people just went away from, and then there was war between Iraq and Iran. So a lot of stuff. This is why we needed to refugee out of there. So then I moved from Cologne to Düsseldorf and changed my studying, like my university. And there was a lot of problems. And at that time, it was already I had a lot of science stuff made for myself. I was 25 years old, so a lot of scientific work for myself for Reef Aquarium as much as I could, because I mean, in the middle of Germany, there is no coral around, right? And this was like the start. Yeah.
Então, o Ehsan, ele é natural do Irã, né? Ele e os pais deles moravam lá, mas quando teve 6 anos, estourou a Revolução Cultural no Irã. Foi o Khomeini que botou um regime islâmico lá e várias pessoas fugiram, se tornaram refugiados. E a família do Ehsan foi para a colônia, e da colônia ele foi para Düsseldorf. E lá ele começou a se interessar e fazer isso. E tornou mais forte o hobby dele lá.
Yeah, and then at one point, actually, I had it. Let's say I was talking to my dad, and then he said, "Look, you need to start a company now." Right, so I was 25 years, and he said, "Look, you better start a company now. There's so many people studying what you study, like chemistry and production technology, whatever." He said he studied to the end, and he got a chemistry teacher for a long time, right? And he said your mom studied to the end, but look, a lot of things can happen. He said, and then at the end you come into a new country and everything is new, and they don't even accept the studying, So the chemistry thing from my dad was not accepted in Germany, right? Even he studied for a long time and was a teacher. So he said, you're better off doing it now and don't study on for 5 years more, because that 5 years you run the company is more worth, he said, than you study on. So I kind of paused the studying, went to open up Triton, and then it just went from there. This is the way it worked. So in the beginning we had this tree. Well, I will tell that
you have finished the university or not, Ehsan?
I've actually not finished the chemistry side of the university. I have still the last bits to do, But I actually never really needed to, because the company went off really, really well. We had these 3 lines of things where we had the animal part and the chemistry part and the lamp, actually. And all the money we invested into the first, we split up equally between the 3 lines, So at the end of the day, yeah, it went pretty straight up. So it was pretty good.
O pai dele, então, era um químico formado, era professor da universidade. E ele estava comentando com nós que quando ele foi para lá, quando ele foi para a Alemanha, infelizmente, lá não foi aceito o diploma dele, né? E o pai dele incentivou muito ele a abrir uma empresa, a tocar uma empresa, porque a experiência que eles tinham já era sólida para isso. e assim ele acabou fundando a Triton, junto com essa ajuda e com esse incentivo aí que eles tiveram.
Okay, so and then yes, no worries. So what happened though is that in that time we were unsure which path the company should take, you know. So we had, for sure, I mean, I had a lot of contacts to the coral world, right? So we had a very high-end coral shop that we set up, right?
Oh, really?
So the animal part, yes, it was, guys, this was crazy. I actually told Jefferson just the last days that he saw a video, and then he said, "Oh, it was a shop." And I said, "Yeah, we had a shop, and we imported."
So Triton start with a shop.
Well, no, not really. So it always was three. It was a three-phase thing. So we wanted to start the chemistry thing because my whole family is chemists, and you know they're doctors, and you know they're double doctors. I think my aunt is double doctor in atomic chemistry. You know, so it's very strange. It's really hard. So it's very hard. When we're talking, it's always a lot of fighting. No, it's very bad. Anyway, so it's quite funny. So they always said like, no, you do chemistry, you know, and you have production technology in the back, so you know how to put up a facility and you do this. And I said, no, but you know, we're not sure. Let's try three things. So my dad said, actually, let's try three things. And because he's the oldest brother, it was quite good, you know. So he said, we're doing this, and then we did this. And it was the way that, you know, we put up a shop, a reef shop, also to understand the market a bit better, you know, because that was the people that we sell to too, right? So we need to understand them. And we had a lot of contacts to the real coral scene, like to Vincent Chaliers. I know him back then already.
Oh, really?
So yes, so I known for a long time, like really long time. He's a very angry Frenchman, but he's pretty good friend. So so we could import a lot of really good corals too, you know. And I went there, visited him, collected corals and stuff like that. So you go.
Então, como começou a empresa? Eles queriam fazer 3 lados, tá? Um dos lados que ele julgava necessário era entender o consumidor. Então, por isso eles abriram uma loja. Teve um vídeo até que ele acabou comentando esses dias aí com o Jeff, que eles tocaram na loja até 2012. O Jeff vai mostrar aí. E essa loja era para eles com o objetivo de importar também corais. O Ehsan já conhece o Vincent Chaliers, que é um francês, um dos primeiros aquicultores, que também é uma pessoa bem influente, bem conhecida no nosso hobby. E ele importava vários animais dele e já tinha na loja lá para atender. E a outra parte que o pai dele sempre falava era a questão da química, que eles queriam fazer isso com química por causa de todo o conhecimento da família. Inclusive, um tio dele é químico nuclear, e sempre teve essa pressão aí para ele estar. Tanto que ele estudou e foi até o final aí na universidade com isso. So that was your store?
Yes. So we started like that. So this is actually the show tank, but on the right side you have the tanks with all the corals and stuff. Back then it's quite a long time ago.
It was in Düsseldorf.
This is in Düsseldorf, yeah. So you have little tanks here, you know, to test stuff out. We had a lot of things in that time. It's quite nice to see, to be honest. It's so long ago. But anyway, so that was the start of everything. And then one by one, you saw, we went actually to look, you know, where the most benefit for our customers were lying, right? So you saw that importing coral was quite good. This is a awesome tank though. Look at the coral, it's grown on the glass.
Wonderful.
And I showed on this tank that it's more about the chemistry than about the flow. The coral that is grown in there was grown as exactly that thick that it was grown in my show tank. And it's all the same water, you know.
When you mentioned to me that it started in 3 parts, you wanted to go on 3 sides. One was the store, the other one was the chemistry part. So when you mentioned the chemistry part, you already started working on the core 7?
Yeah, no, not at all. We were working on the trace element supplementation. So anyway, chemistry. You saw chemistry, you saw the animal part, and the animal part was a local part, so it wasn't growing that fast, but the chemistry part grows really fast, right? And the lamp was growing pretty good too. So this is the you know, the aquariums and stuff. Anyway, so yes, at the end of the day, you know, one by one, it showed, it was visible that the animal part is not that big for, you know, for going all over the world, because it's just local. And then it also kind of crystallized out that the lamp at one point need to have its own company, or it's getting sold. So we actually sold the lamp that time, or 2016, and the chemistry part was left over, right? This is the way it actually worked. Yeah.
As três partes que eram, pessoal, eram a parte química, a parte da loja e a parte das lâmpadas, tá? O negócio das lâmpadas eles venderam em 2016, a loja fechou em 2012, e eles mantiveram só a parte química, porque com essa eles conseguem atingir um maior público, um maior número de pessoas, porque nós outras vão ser limitadas, então eles decidiram manter o foco nisso. So, Ehsan, you mentioned to me that about the lamp business. It was shut down and you sold out it in 2016. And what was the brand name? You make the production by yourself. How was that?
Yes. So we started the LED lamp. Very, very. Actually, this is not the shop anymore, though. This is actually something else. Yeah, it's something else. But this is another shop in Germany that I know. Anyway, but so yes, so the Lanis were produced by us. Lani was the name of the brand, and at one point it went bigger and bigger, and then we needed to, you know, separate the production. So we would have people working in the production of the Lani, and people working on the production of the chemical side, right? So this was the decision, and then at that time it was either we do this or we sell the whole brand, we sell the whole lamp. Right, and that show tank that we have is still, I think, the only show tank that was running LED from the beginning. So this lamp was over this tank from day one. It was all the time on that aquarium, and you need to understand that was very special. So somebody came on an interzoo and he said, "Well, you know, I would, if you want to sell it, I'll buy it off you," and then we decided to sell the whole production. So we sold the whole brand. The Lani brand is not a Triton brand anymore. It was, but it's not anymore. And since 2016, we don't have the lamp in production anymore, right?
Então, a marca das lâmpadas se chamava Delane, né? E ela foi vendida em 2016 porque eles não tinham mais como controlar também a produção. Eles iam ter que botar uma linha separada e era totalmente em LEDs. O tanque, inclusive, que aparece lá, aquele display principal, ele foi criado, todo cultivado com LEDs. Em 2016, uma pessoa apareceu para ele na Interzoo, se propôs a comprar, e hoje a marca continua, mas não tem ligação nenhuma com a Triton. Okay, so you mentioned to me that it was only the trace elements. And when you decided to implement all over, to go a little bit further with the base elements as well. Então, ele mencionou para mim que quando começou foi com os elementos traço, e depois eu questionei a ele quando que ele decidiu ir também para os elementos base.
You don't get that wrong, right? So in supplementation, so we actually focused on chemistry from then on, right? But in supplementation of a reef aquarium, you have two things, right? First you have the macro elements. So you go for calcium, magnesium, you know, alkalinity, even strontium is a macro element. So all these things. And that's something that, for example, you do with a calcium reactor or with baling, or, you know, whatever you choose, you can do this, right? And then you have the other part, which is the trace elements, right? And the trace elements are, these two things are very different from each other. They're not the same, you know? So we always had in the beginning, like 2008, we had the basic macro element supplementation, which was based on the Barling method. So you use sodium bicarbonate, you used calcium chloride, you used, you know, all the normal stuff that you would choose as a base. But the trace elements, you know, that people don't know that, but trace elements always have been based on, like, I wouldn't say luck, but it's not scientifically kind of structured what a trace element you add to the tank, right? So in that time, I was a reef keeper, and still I am a reef keeper, but in that time, I always read on the bottles and say, oh yeah, there's trace elements in there, and there's, you know, this and that, and it's scientific, and I felt there's no science behind it, because it's just a bottle with, I don't even know what is inside, because I cannot measure, right? So you need to understand this. The other side was crystal clear. It's okay. Everybody knows, you know, sodium bicarbonate or calcium chloride, it will lift calcium and it will lift. But that's scientific. But the trace elements weren't ever. Okay? You go better before I start with.
Uma coisa que tem que ser deixada clara é que os elementos base, quando se começou lá, todos já eram bem consolidados, eram sempre a mesma coisa, bicarbonato de sódio, cloreto de cálcio. Mas os elementos traços naquela época não eram adicionados de forma científica, era só uma garrafinha, um frasquinho, em que lá constavam algumas coisas de maneira muito obscura, que muitas vezes a gente não sabia o que estava lá dentro, e não tinha uma forma correta de se dosar isso. Ou seja, não era claro como fazer isso. Não existia uma forma científica de adicionar os elementos traço. Isso a gente está falando de 2008.
So the problem with the trace elements, and still it is like that, it's still like that, right, is first of all, you couldn't measure, right? So we created the ICP. So we brought the method of ICP to make it applicable in the industry, you know. That was 2012. But the reality is that just measuring them is not enough, right? So when you look at the trace element solutions you could buy back then, and you still can buy them, this is the point, like a mixture of trace elements, it is based on the coral skeleton measurement from before 1974. That's the trace elements you actually add to aquarium still. So a mixture of trace elements need to be based on something, right? You need to understand which one you need to put in there, how much and stuff, right? So Hans-Werner Barling went there and he tried to calculate it out of the coral skeleton, measured not by himself, but measured by people before 1974.
But why he considered that date? Why that date is important, Ehsan?
Because you need to understand one thing. That's what the base of core 7 is, right? And the trace elements in there, right? So before that, it was based on Barling, and we added trace elements. But we were the first not add the trace elements based on a coral skeleton. We based it on the measurements in aquariums, right? So the water. Because I had somewhere I said, actually last time I said, we don't keep corals only in an aquarium. We keep a habitat. So we keep what the water is what the corals live in. It's not just the coral skeleton, you know. And that was the biggest mistake in reef keeping, and it still is. It's still the biggest mistake in reef keeping. You know?
O Ehsan está falando coisas muito interessantes, tá, pessoal? Eu espero que a maioria esteja conseguindo entender um pouquinho de inglês, que eu vou tentar traduzir essas coisas. Eu não costumo interromper ele, porque senão perde a linha de raciocínio, tá? Então, desde quando o Hans-Werner Barling ele criou o método de reposição, estimando os elementos traços que continham nos esqueletos de coral, isso foram medidas que ele tomou a partir de esqueletos de corais que já tinham, e essas medidas foram levadas em consideração antes de 1974. medidas que já haviam sido tomadas antes dessa data, tá? Como que a Triton nasceu? Já em 2012 começaram os testes de ICP, eles trouxeram esse método e ajustaram, realizaram os ajustes para o aquarismo marinho. E ele baseou todo o estudo, toda a análise que foi feita através dos testes de ICP que eles fundamentaram e trouxeram para o hobby e definiram quais eram os elementos traço ideais para corais vivos, ou seja, ele não levou em consideração os números que antes eram utilizados, porque aqueles números não vinham de uma análise mais profunda como essa.
So to understand trace elements in an aquarium, you need to understand what is using them or where they go, you know? And they don't go only to the corals. This is not the reality. The reality is you have a filter and they will go to the filter. You have an algae in the filter, it will go to the algae in the filter. You know, it will go to be skimmed, it will be filtered by phosphate remover, by activated carbon. So all the technology also in a reef aquarium will also consume differently your trace elements. It even give trace elements into the tank. So for example, you know, a phosphate remover on iron base, we found out that it will leach barium into the tank. So the variable of filter is pretty, you know, nobody looks at it, right?
That was something that we were discussing on the later days. I believe it was 2 or 3 days ago, how would impact the trace elements when using adsorbing media, for example, carbon, for example, OGFO, all this get affected then.
Exactly, it affects heavily. You know, it's a heavy effect on the aquarium, the water of the aquarium, and the trace elements. So,
então, o que o Ehsan está trazendo para nós? Está dizendo, né, que essa questão do baseado, né, do consumo dos elementos traço pelo aquário, ele deve ser tratado pelo aquário e não somente nos corais, porque existem várias coisas que consomem os elementos traço, como, por exemplo, as mídias, as bactérias que vivem nas mídias, as algas. E ele relatou que, de acordo com as observações, com os testes, né, foi observado também que, por exemplo, a mídias de absorção à base de ferro, como, por exemplo, os GFOs, eles podem vazar bário no aquário. E eu comentei com ele que 2 ou 3 dias atrás nós estávamos discutindo isso num grupo, que o consumo de elementos traço, por exemplo, por carvão, por exemplo, por esse tipo de mídia. E que isso o Ehsan relata para nós que ocorre.
So when you understand that, you can also understand that everybody is doing it different. Every person is having a different filter, is having different amount of filter media, is having algae or bacteria or, you know, so many things they can choose, right? And they also have all different corals. So they have different animals, there's so many variables, right? And then you also understand that you cannot have one mixture of trace elements that matches all these things. It can't. One tank will be lower on vanadium, one tank will be way higher on vanadium. If you add barium, one tank will be lower on barium, one tank will be higher. So it don't logically work, right?
But it was isso. Pense no número de variáveis. Quantas pessoas tem de mídia, quantas pessoas tem de área, tem de animais, tem de bactérias no aquário. Ou seja, o consumo desses elementos traço vai ser completamente diferente para cada um. Uma vai consumir mais vanádio, outra vai consumir mais outros elementos. Então, sempre tu vai ter inúmeras variáveis e tu não pode ter uma abordagem única para a dosagem de elementos traços no aquário.
Yeah, so a lot of reef shops, you know, a lot of people doing reef keeping for a long time, me too. We always say every aquarium is different, right? So that is the main problem of the trace elements. The macro elements, you measure. Everybody at home measure calcium, measure alkalinity, and add it individually to your aquarium. Even this is not matching from aquarium to aquarium. You need to measure and replace, right? So the logic is already there. People understand that every aquarium would use different amounts of calcium and different amounts of alkalinity and different amounts of magnesium. But they ignore it on the trace elements because there was no possibility, you know?
Yes,
so we brought the ICP, and it made it allowed us to measure the trace elements in the water, you know? So you can actually replace and individually you know, put that in what you need for your aquarium, right?
Essa analogia é muito interessante, né? Enquanto a gente já sabe e já está perfeitamente aceito que cada aquário tem o seu próprio consumo de cálcio, o seu próprio consumo de reserva alcalina, o seu próprio consumo de magnésio, a gente mede e a gente usa o mesmo valor. Cada tanque usa um valor diferente, por isso que todos nós medimos e todos nós adicionamos. Só que por um outro lado, nesses 3 elementos aí a gente já entende, muitas pessoas ignoram os elementos traço. Por quê? Porque não tinha como medir. E isso foi o fato motivador a eles irem atrás do ICP. Conseguir medir todos os parâmetros dos elementos traço para que a gente faça a dosagem de acordo com o consumo específico de cada um dos tanques.
Yes. So, but now we thought maybe, you know, that is enough, but because my family is very chemist, you know, they said it's not enough. So the point of it is you need to understand one thing. Now we have all the ICP measurements, but to understand them, you need a scientific standard, right? So you cannot read and say, oh, look, this guy uses a lot of vanadium, but don't know what his filter is. Mm-hmm. You cannot do that. You know, you don't learn because the variance is too much. Maybe he's not using vanadium. He's having a nice aquarium, but something in his filter release vanadium. So you get a misunderstanding of all the aquariums, even if you have a tool like the ICP. Okay, let me explain it from the other side. It's getting a bit more clear. So now what we did is we created the Triton method from the beginning when we started even HPLC, so even before ICP. So we created a standard with a standard filter with the amount of algae 10 to 20%, with specific amounts of filter media, you know, with a specific size of a skimmer, with a specific size turnover. So everything in the Triton method is specific. It's a rule, right? And you go for it. Okay. So we did this. Oh, go on. You translate.
So that's quite perfect, Ehsan, because so now I understand. So there is a pattern. You're creating a standard so you can have really approximate consumption rate to use the method, right?
Yes. This is the way it works. You translate that part.
Isso que é a questão mais interessante, tá? Por que foi criado o método Triton, mesmo antes dos ICPs? A grande inovação está em tu criar um padrão, tu ter um padrão. Porque quando tu tem um filtro, uma mídia, por exemplo, ela pode consumir muito mais de um determinado elemento traço. Se tu usa tal elemento, um GFO, ele pode estar alargando esses contaminantes ou ele pode estar absorvendo alguma outra coisa que seja necessária. Então, quando foi estabelecido o padrão da Triton, que é chamado de método Triton, ele criou um standard com uma vazão, por exemplo, de 10 vezes, com 10 a 20% da parte de macroalga, com um skimmer bem dimensionado. Por quê? Não foi só por capricho. Foi para tu ter um padrão de consumo do repositor de elementos, do corset. Então, com esse padrão, tu obedecendo essas regras, tu vai ter um consumo que vai ser completamente suprido com os produtos. Ehsan?
So now, if you have this standard, right, the Triton method, and then we have our own tank, but we have all these other tanks around the world, and we measure them, and we ask people, you know, What do you use? What do you have? We have a thing that online we can extract that data. Then you can understand what every element does. Before that, you can't, So what you do is you fill the filter with everything it needs. This is the trace element solution that we have, right? We support the filter with everything it needs. So it's filled up with trace elements and everything it needs, because we know what a specific amount of carbon will take out. We know what the specific amount of phosphate media will take out, and we know what the algae needs, right? So we deliver the filter. And then what actually you zero it out. So what you then have is a baseline, a base. And on that base, you add vanadium, and you see this vanadium is going to your corals and what the corals do with it, or what your snails do with it, or what, you know what I mean? The effect is visible in the aquarium because the filter is not taking anything. This is why we call it the base elements.
So Ehsan, when we decided that it's going to use a microalgae refugium with Chaetomorpha, you actually provide trace elements for it being workable, right? The
Exactly.
Chaetomorpha also needs trace elements in order to grow and work perfectly, right?
Yes, exactly. So to be very efficient in the way to reach the aquariums that people want to reach, the really high-end aquariums that normally you use a bacterial version of filter to get low nutrients. If you want to reach this with the algae, you need to support the algae. You cannot just leave it in there. Especially.
Então, pessoal, essa questão do padrão é muito importante, tá? Porque, por exemplo, quando tu utiliza um filtro, uma principal forma de exportação, como por exemplo das Chaetomorpha, elas não consomem só o nitrato e fosfato, elas consomem alguns elementos traços que são necessários. E para tu ser eficiente, tu tem que suprir isso. Tu tem que largar esses nutrientes, esses elementos que elas precisam para que elas funcionem da maneira correta. E isso vai fazer o quê? Quando tu adicionar algum outro elemento, como ele usou, por exemplo, o exemplo do vanádio, tu sabes que isso não vai parar no teu filtro, como acontecia no caso de algumas mídias, por exemplo, de consumirem isso. Ele não está baseado em bactérias, está mais baseado nessa questão das algas. Tu vê o vanádio entrar no teu tanque e cumprir a função que ele deveria fazer com os corais.
Edu, this is too formal, no? Hey, son, it's too formal. You're not like this, no?
No, I'm normally not like this, but I mean, he said the world I'm 38 years old, and everybody thought I'm 25.
Edu, o que você acha que dar uma boa noite para a turma toda que está aqui e fazer uma pergunta?
Por favor, Jeff.
Vamos ficar, né? Bom, Ehsan, we are just saying hello to all the people that are with us tonight. Pessoal, boa noite, Gil Naki, Gabriel Lafis, Curitiba Reef, André Luiz Simões, Roberto Ferlis, Douglas Araújo, Luiz Carlos Alves, André Nicolai, que mais? Vinícius Domingos, Luiz Moder tá aí, ô Luizão, Ronaldo Lopes, Planeta Aquários, Curitiba, Fábio da Silva, Cássio Campati, olha aí, Cassião, André Luiz Simões. Nós temos uma primeira pergunta aqui. Edu, eu vou falar em português, você traduz para ele aí direto. Então,
combinado.
Tá? Ehsan, qual é a principal característica no Core 7 e que diferença dos demais balens? O que me faria optar por Triton ao invés de usar um balen tradicional?
Ehsan, which are the main and the core factors from the Core 7? What would make me choose this product among all others 3 parts, 4 parts in the market?
It's actually what we talked about, to be honest. So there are 2 things. First of all, it is the most concentrated version. So it's 7 times more concentrated than baling can ever be chemically, right?
That's why it's called Core 7.
Correct. That's why it's called Core 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so this is the part of the macro elements. It's way more concentrated, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot reach it with standard baling. So sodium bicarbonate, this is not going to work. It's just not dissolvable. That's all right. It also has a lot of other benefits, but keep it easy. It's more concentrated, so you don't need that much space.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go to practically, you can go to holidays and you put 100 liters there, and you have 700 liters of barley, the same amount. So you understand? It's just a practical thing, to be honest, on the core 7. But then there are 2 versions of core 7. There is the Reef supplements, and there are the base elements, right? And the base elements is what we talked about just before that. So the base elements has a trace element supplementation for the Triton method, right? Which is the most sophisticated method in the moment, because it really takes care of the trace elements and it causes stability better than a product based on measurements before 1974. This is why it's so important, you know. So these 2 versions, and we call it the modern reef keeping. So modern reef keeping is not based on coral skeleton or whatever it was before. It is not like that. You know, it is separated. It is scientific. So it's a standard. A lot of comparisons have been done over the last 12 years. You know, so there's a lot of knowledge in this product.
Então, essa
if
questão...
you don't... Yeah, go on.
Então, a principal função é aquilo que nós estávamos conversando agora há pouco, tá? Ele não só suplementa os elementos base, ele também traz os elementos que vão ser necessários para alimentar corretamente o filtro, que nesse caso são as macroalgas, tá? E largar todos os elementos traços e promover um equilíbrio, tá? Ele é 7 vezes mais concentrado do que os normais, e isso não é obtido com o baling que a gente conhece. Ou seja, tu vai ocupar muito menos volume. Ele é muito mais potente, e isso não pode ser obtido, né, usando o cloreto de sódio, o bicarbonato de sódio que a gente conhece. Então, essa é um dos principais fatores. Espaço, a concentração e a reposição e fornecimento dos elementos para o filtro.
So the main difference is actually that you need to understand the part of that trace element supplementation, which really helps the aquarium to be stable. One of the, so we on the base elements, we know what the filter needs, right? And based on that, we also understand better what different aquarium needs, right? So we know what a trace element does. For example, iodine, we understand it deeper, what it does, because we have the standard of base elements, you know, they compare all these aquariums to each other. So in reef supplements, there's way less trace elements in there, right? The reef supplements is not the base elements. The reef supplements is just a more concentrated version of barley, okay? But we still add a bit of trace elements where we know it's not dangerous to have a special amount, right? And it's still beneficial. It's not that many. It's way more in base elements, but still there is a bit in there to, you know, but again, not based on the coral skeleton. This is not the case. It's based on all the aquariums we have measured in 12 years, right?
And Ehsan, so sir, tell me that although it includes the needed rate for trace elements, you also add a little bit more that's still in the safe range?
Yes, correct. So, you know, something like iodine, for example, you lose out of the aquarium very quickly. It's really no matter which aquarium. No, you know, like in the Triton method, we lose it because of other reasons, but nearly every aquarium shows a loss in iodine, you know? So we can see that on the data too. So even not being Triton method, you will lose iodine. So it's making sense to add a bit of iodine in safe range, right? You need to understand where to put that amount, but you can add it into the reef supplements, which works for other methods, not only for the Triton method, you know?
Então, é colocado, como isso nós comentamos, é colocado um pouco a mais, porque já se sabe que além do consumo, ele vai ter um consumo um pouco maior, que é o caso do iodine, né? Mantendo assim dentro de padrões seguros que eles sabem por toda a experiência que é somada. Eu quero perguntar para eles sobre a questão do consumo, né? Do consumo dos elementos traço, porque ele joga elementos traço, mas ele também joga um pouco a mais para manter esse equilíbrio. E como que isso é feito? Isso daí foi estabelecido, porque são inúmeros elementos que estão ali dentro. Ehsan, in the core 7 we have the major elements and the trace elements. All the elements needed in the water is over there. So you fill up in order to also get the consumption, to cover up the consumption of the corals, right? And it keeps, but how does it work? Because I suppose that each coral is a different species, a different gender. How would you know that this species would consume that and the other one this? How you do that?
That's the science that we do here, but it's actually not that much in the base elements. So it is a factor that you don't know. So everybody has different corals. But with the Triton method, everybody has the same filter. Okay, so it's taking one big problem away, but the other big problems still remain, right? So you don't know exactly about the constitution of corals in an aquarium. You don't know that. You cannot ever know that, right? Otherwise, you need to ask everybody, and this is not possible. So what we did is we filled up the filter. We put a bit of stuff on top, which we know, like iodine, will leave every aquarium, which shows in every test.
Oh, I understand now.
But then you test an ICP, from time to time. You do it every 3 months is actually enough, every 2 months. Some people do it every month, every week, So David Sexby do it every week.
So it got more stable because you don't have the dam filter getting the trace elements.
Yes, correct. So you actually you feed the filter, so you're fine. Then you add a bit more, so you know what maybe is needed for all the aquarium. It's more about not the corals, more about all the aquarium. So everything is very stable, and then you individually add. So you see, I'm low on vanadium, so you add the vanadium, and then you see on your corals that the vanadium, maybe one of the corals will get super colorful and super nice. I don't need to know which coral that is, but in your case, as an aquarist in front of the aquarium, you see, that corals get nice. So you keep going, keep giving vanadium, and you will see on the next ICP, maybe it's still too low, so you keep adding, so to reach a special point.
A lógica toda desse sistema tá, então, pessoal, em tu reduzir o número de variáveis. O filtro, como nós conversamos lá no começo da conversa, como nós falamos no começo da conversa, ele também consome elementos traço. E isso cria uma total desordem, cada aquário seria único. Então, quando foi estabelecido esse método Triton, mais uma vez, foi constituída a reposição pro filtro ali, que são as macroalgas, e isso é reposto. Tu tirou uma grande variável do sistema. O fato que cada coral consome é diferente, dependendo do tamanho, da espécie, e cada aquário é uma tarefa impossível de ser determinada. Porém, quando tu tira essa grande parte, essa grande variável, tu consegue ter uma estabilidade maior, e através do teste de CP tu vai fazer essa reposição. Ehsan, como que eram os principais elementos consumidos assim por esses tipos de filtro que tu enxergava? O quão grave era o problema de absorção de elementos traço? Ehsan, you mentioned to me that, which brought me big curiosity, because now I can understand the logic, that the filters that have been used, they consume a lot of trace elements, and this creates a big noise in the results and the consumption from every tank. Which can you please supply to me, for example, which type of media they consume, this and that you saw? Give us an example about this, please.
So, for example, aluminium-based phosphate media will take fluoride. Okay, will take fluoride. It will release aluminium into the tank. So people thought, it's not possible, but it will release aluminium. So if you look at, let's say, activated carbon, it will take iodine. It's pretty good because iodine is something people know, So it will take a bit of iodine, not too much, depending on how much you use. Then let's say a iron-based phosphate remover. It will release sometimes, with different types release barium, right? So when you know this, the same counts for maybe zeolite. Zeolite release barium, so the little rocks. And so many things are out there. Biological filtration, let's say we have a lot of biopellets. Biopellets release copper, release arsenic. We have measured all this, So not all of the brands, not all of them do the same thing. This is a horrible situation. It's not, you cannot say this brand does it. You look, for example, Julian Sprung's phosphate media, which is Phospan, right? Well, possibly people know it in Brazil because you're so close to the US. Phospan it's clean. It's not releasing barium. We tested it, but other brands do. Rovaphos don't. Rovaphos is not giving up barium, but other brands do. So it's not only the media you use, it's even the brand, the manufacturing, it's so many things, that contribute to this.
Exemplos que podem ser tratados como isso, por exemplo, onde tu usa uma mídia de absorção de fosfato à base de alumina. Ela vai absorver, por exemplo, o flúor, porém ela pode largar o alumínio. Isso depende de marcas, já foi medido e constatado. Algumas marcas fazem isso. A questão do carvão ativado. O carvão ativado vai retirar o iodine. É iodeto, né, Jeff? Iodine em português.
Iodo.
Iodo, sim, mas o iodine é uma variação dele, né? É o iodato, não?
Iodo.
Iodo, tá. Vai retirar o iodo do... Vai retirar o iodo do aquário. As mídias, como por exemplo a zeolita. A zeolita pode largar bário, né? Alguns GFOs largam bário também. Não é o caso do Roaphos, não é o caso da Fosban, mas isso acontece. E também nós conversamos, né, Jeff? Vamos trazer essa questão aqui sobre esses blocos de mídia que muitas pessoas usam, né? O Ehsan, ele chegou a comentar contigo e tu teve um problema com isso, né?
Sim, tive e conversei com ele. O ponto é o seguinte: quanto que pode impactar num aquário uma quantidade de bioblocks, de blocos de mídia, além do que o aquário precisa, né? Hoje, esses blocos, eles tratam 5.000 litros de água e muita gente coloca no aquário achando que vai ser melhor eu ter mais bactéria, né? Que isso vai ser benéfico para o sistema. Existe um negativo muito grande nisso aí, além do próprio consumo, porque isso aí é uma esponja. Ele vai comentar, inclusive, é só falar para ele da história do vinho.
Ehsan, this one thing that I believe that is good for us to bring us now, about bioblocks, the use of the bioblocks in the aquarium in a large scale, how this can be a problem. Jeff is also asking me for you to mention about the wine, the wine idea that you discussed with him.
Yes. So in the beginning, when we started to think about the standard, because when we created the Triton method, we needed to decide which filter we use. We could have used a bacterial filter. We don't need to use the algae. Everything I told you is also possible with bacteria. A standard is a standard, so you choose it, right? So when we started to choose which way we go, we looked at two methods of filtration. One is the bacterial way, with zeolite, with bioblocks, with a lot of organic carbon, so there is a lot of bacteria. And the other way was the algae, which they do the same thing. They take nutrients, So this is what we decided, and I decided actually, not anybody in my family. I decided. I said we go the algae way,
Okay.
Because there was two things. The algae was not that efficient. A bacteria is more efficient, right? So it can take more quicker, but I said we don't go the bacteria way, because one thing is to bacteria, and everything is bio, bio blocks, bio pellets, bio whatever. It's all bacteria. right? So bacteria don't stop. Bacteria are stupid, they don't stop. They just go until nothing is there anymore. And that's dangerous, right? So when you use the bacteria to do something, they go and go and go and go and go, and they don't stop. And even if they die, they still go. They die, and then everything is dead, and they kill themselves. And I said this to Jefferson last time. I said, you look at producing wine. So when you produce wine, you have a big block of organic carbon. It's sugar in the wine, in the young wine, right? So you leave it there, and bacteria are there, and the bacteria eat the sugar. They eat the sugar, and they produce alcohol, and they produce alcohol, and they produce alcohol, and then there is so much alcohol that every bacteria in that wine dies. This is the way they work. This is the way bacteria work. They don't stop. Even if they die, they don't stop. And algae don't do that, The algae, this is not happening. It's a higher life form, no other thing, really do this kind of things. They don't, suicide like this, So at the end of the day, in a reef aquarium, you don't want something to go that far. Algae don't do that. Algae will have a special amount of nutrient, and then it will die off, and it will release all the nutrients it took again, it will not die all at once, right? So it buffers your tank, right?
But there's one thing that I want to ask you, but firstly I'm going to translate it for the audience.
Yes, go.
Então, pessoal, quando ele criou o Core 7, ele tinha duas opções para onde ir. Ele tinha a opção de fazer baseado nas macroalgas e tinha a opção de ir para o lado bacteriológico, para esses bioblocos, não sei das quantas do local. As bactérias, eles iam ter que estar dosando carbono orgânico e elas resolvem muito rápido o problema, diferente das macroalgas. Mas por que ele optou em ir para as macroalgas? Porque as bactérias, elas não têm freio, as bactérias, elas não param. Elas vão até uma hora que acabam morrendo. Elas se matam porque terminaram com toda a comida e isso deixa o sistema muito frágil, muito problemático. Já no lado da alga, da macroalga, ela vai crescer e quando ela estiver cheia, ela vai morrer e vai soltar esses nutrientes de volta na água. E vai ser uma porção, não vai ser todo mundo, porque a bactéria, quando morre todo mundo. And Ehsan, this brings me another question.
A história do vinho, que essa é boa para o pessoal ver.
E é claro, ele usou uma analogia do vinho, né? O que é o vinho? O vinho tu coloca lá, tu tem uma grande porção de açúcares, e lá as bactérias vão consumindo o açúcar e vão transformando em álcool. E elas fazem isso até terminar com isso. Quando terminou todos os açúcares, morre tudo e fica somente o álcool, né? A pergunta que eu vou trazer para ele agora é isso. Já que as macroalgas acontecem com isso, então eu não devo usar uma exportação, eu não devo retirar a macroalga de lá para o manter baixo. Eu tenho que manter ela ali naquela frequência até... porque quando ela morrer, ela vai largar os nutrientes novamente. Ehsan, this comes for the following question. When we have the macroalgae refugium, the Chaetomorpha refugium, and it overgrows, it has a lot of microalgae. Should we take it out and throw it in the garbage in order to export, or should we let it over there? Because we are facing a lot of problems, as mentioned before. We are having zero phosphates and really ultra low nitrates. Should we control it by throwing out the algae, or should we reduce the photo period? What should we do?
I used to do, if I really have, it's very difficult to get low phosphate. It's difficult. In a reef tank, in a reef aquarium, low phosphate is difficult. Okay, I'll tell you this. I measured thousands of aquarium, right? Only a very few amount of them really have low phosphate. And they're very extreme aquariums, like they don't have any fish, just corals, things like that. You will see really low phosphate, but I will explain a bit more about this later. So what I did practically is when I feel that there is too less nutrient in my aquarium, I take the algae, I put it in a little, bucket with water, with the water of my tank, and I squashed it. I killed it, I just smash it. And then I take the water and put it back into my aquarium. Just the water, not the algae, So you actually do what a big fish that eats algae would do. You smash it, you kill whatever is, you know, in there, and then you can leave it half an hour and you put it back and you release nutrients to your aquarium. This is the best way to do it because it's a cycle. You know, we sell phosphate, we sell P beta, P alpha. We have products to add chemically, but in the Triton method, you have the best biological available nutrient in your sump. Right?
No option should we throw them out.
You normally I throw them out. So I have a lot of fish in my aquarium. I have difficult antias in there, and so many difficult anamses, what do you call it, wrasses and stuff. So you need to feed a lot, you know. Yes, so you feed a lot and you have constantly too much nutrients, kind of. So the algae will take them, and you take them and throw them in the bin. I give it away to people, you know, that want to do Triton. So some people sell them, you know. So in the UK, there are people selling the algae out of the tank. So it's all possible, but you don't leave it in there. If it's getting very big, and especially when it's getting close to the border of the aquarium, so when it hits the glass, you know, that is an unnatural situation because there is no glass in the sea. So when it hits the glass, it's too less space. Then you take it. Then you take a bit. Just take it. Make it little. It's like gardening. It's like you do a bit of, you know, mowing your grass. You know, okay. Similar. Think about it like that. Keep it nice and, you know, natural, and it's okay. This is the way I would do it.
Então, a questão é, em todas as medidas que foram feitas de aquários das pessoas, em pouquíssimas situações ele foi constatado que se tinha fosfatos muito baixos, níveis de fosfato muito baixos. A grande maioria sempre tem. Na relação de descartar ou não as algas para exportação, ele considera que um bom ponto é quando chegar no vidro ele tirar um pouco, porque não é natural a alga ficar encostada tão próxima assim do vidro, tá? E o que ele faz é esmagar as algas e jogar a água dentro, a água que saiu esmagada. O resto ele pega e joga fora. So there is no big importance in letting the algae to die off and release the nutrients inside.
Some people do it and it's having a good effect, you know. But normally the algae also get eaten by a lot of little animals, like, you know, cocopods and whatever. So they go and eat the algae, you know, and they're live food. This is a very good thing to algae. No bacteria can do this, you know. So you create the best form of amino acids. It's alive, you know. So they eat it. My corals were alive. They had 1 meter Hyacinthus acropora, and it was a 1 meter table, and all the bottom was alive. All the bottom, like underneath, it was all alive until it was on the rock, right? It was because there is so much food in the aquarium. You know, all the corals were like that. All the acropora were alive. You don't even see this in the sea sometimes, you know. So it's very, very unusual.
That's truly amazing, Ehsan. That's truly amazing. It's something that I'm going to discuss with you over there, because, well, first, let's say hi for a few people more. Jeff?
Vamos lá. Wilfred, boa noite, Fred. Daniel Pedroso, já vou colocar tua pergunta aqui, tá, Fred? Júnior Ribeiro, James Rogalski, coisa linda essa live. Aquário Marinho Help Reef, opa! César Viduedo, Cássio, já falei o nome dele. Edvar, deixa eu dar 8 para todo mundo aqui, aí a gente vai para mais uma pergunta aqui. Claudinei Pereira, Ivan Oliveira, Isaac Silva, Wilson Cabeça, Shark Manutenções, Cida Ipiranga, Gilberto Marques, Ronaldo. There's a bunch of people here, my friend.
Quero mandar um abraço especial para o James aí, que é o meu grande parceiro aí de ir para a praia às 3 horas da manhã e encher galão de água, hein, James?
Legal.
Trazendo 600 litros de água. I was just saying that one person that's in the audience, his name is James, and he's my big buddy. For about 3 years, we go to the beach take about 600 liters in order to make water changes in our aquariums.
Yeah. So he's now not your friend because you're not doing water change anymore, correct?
That's right. He lost a buddy. Actually, he lost a buddy.
Pode traduzir aí, vai. Modelando.
Unfortunately, he's not my friend anymore because we are not doing this for a long time since he started Triton. I'm not doing more water change. So actually, he lost a buddy.
Very sorry for you, my friend. I'm very sorry.
Yeah. Marcelo Modelão é químico e está dizendo aqui, ó, I want my Triton. This is a chemistry guy here that's a reef tanker as well. Misael, Eduardo Dias. Que mais? Vamos lá. Ricardo Rio. Opa. A pergunta do Ricardo Rio aqui. Todos os biopellets ou somente os de baixa qualidade que liberam cobre e arsênio? Edu, essa é boa.
The ones that release copper and arsenic, the biopellets, are almost all of them or only the cheapest one, or it depends on the brands?
Depends on the brand, but also depends on the batch, because biopellets are biological product. So we found out that sadly, we try to inhibit these things. We also talk to companies, you know, we tell them when we find something, we tell them you have a problem possibly, you know, because most of the companies, they buy the product and then they just label it, you know, so they just need to, they don't have a, you know, laboratory or something, so they cannot control the quality. So these people selling to them, sometimes they kind of want to, you know, to make some more money. And the problem with biopellet is biopellet is a biological product. It's made out of rice or of wood, or, you know, so you normally, you know, in rice, you find a lot of arsenic sometimes in the one that we eat, you know. So this is the problem of the biopellets. It's very variable, you know.
O problema dos biopellets é que eles são baseados, muitas vezes são feitos de arroz ou de madeira. E no arroz, várias vezes a gente encontra arsênico por causa dos agrotóxicos que são utilizados. Então não depende só da marca, depende também do lote. Muitas das empresas, elas não produzem isso. Elas compram e colocam a etiqueta delas. Eles não têm um laboratório para testar. Então, além de depender da marca, depende do lote.
O Edu, mais duas perguntas e a gente segue na pauta, tá?
Tá bom.
Boa noite. Pergunta do Fred aqui. Eu posso utilizar água destilada no lugar da RO para fazer a mistura dos componentes do corset? E aí já coloca junto também o sal, se eu quiser fazer um ICP de sal, o que é melhor, água de RO ou água destilada?
One question from the audience. Can we use distilled water instead of reverse osmosis water to make the Core 7?
Yeah, technically you could, but depends on the quality of the water. So in chemistry, in production chemistry, you have different qualities of everything, and water is a chemical. So when you have distilled water and it is the highest quality, which is nuclear quality, you definitely can use it, you know. And then you have analytical, you have pharmaceutical quality, and then you get technical quality. So the quality that you put into the battery of your car, okay? So, you know, the people buy it in the shop. That is not the quality you should use, you know. So you better just do it at home, because it's easy and you're 100% sure that the water is good that you're using. So
então, vai depender da qualidade, vai depender dos níveis de padrão de qualidade que tu tem. A água destilada também é um produto que tem várias classificações, seja um nível nuclear, seja um nível farmacêutico, um nível técnico e um nível padrão. Essa água destilada que a gente coloca, por exemplo, em bateria de carros, colocava em bateria de carros, ela não deve ser utilizada. É muito melhor se tu produzir essa água destilada em casa, que provavelmente tu vai poder utilizar, mas depende do teu nível de pureza.
Ou seja, melhor RODI mesmo nesse caso.
Melhor RODI.
Mais uma pergunta, última pergunta aqui, agora para o próximo bloco a gente faz. Daniel Pedroso, durante a preparação do Core 7 4 litros, ele se distraiu e misturou a solução 1B com o 2 em vez do 1. Isso tem problema ou não?
Okay, so I believe that you understood.
I understood that. Yeah, that's not good.
1B with 2. Is that a problem or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it depends. If it's the base elements, it's not good.
Triton. Triton. Yeah.
So So no, he can't use it anymore. He can't use it. He will precipitate. Yeah.
Daniel, procura a gente que a gente troca teu produto aí. So we're gonna replace his product. That doesn't matter. That's fine. Yeah.
That's the only way to do it. I'm very sorry.
Let's go back to the topic inside the Core 7, Ehsan. Yes. I saw, and everyone sees a lot of Polyp Extension when using the Core 7 products. That's truly amazing, something that we never saw it before. Besides the major elements, the trace elements, does the Core, and also the base elements for the macroalgae, does the Core 7 also bring amino acids and other things that stimulates the Polyp Extension?
No, it don't. And
there is no amino acids inside it for the coral feeding?
No, there is not. And this is the big thing that people still believe, that this would cause the Polyp Extension, but this is a failed Polyp Extension. You know, if you add glutamic acid, you know, like glutamate, you know, it's called glutamate in Germany. I'm not sure if it's glutamic acid. Anyway, so it's an amino acid. You know, you put in food so it tastes better. You know, if you add this to your aquarium, you get Polyp Extension. You know, but this is because it's kind of biological response. You know, in the case of Core 7, we try to keep the aquarium very stable. Core 7 also, different to barling, will lift your oxygen amount. So it lifts your pH. You know, which coral like that. You know, to have a lifted pH, not too high, but it's lifting.
So it can bring it more than 7 ppm of oxygen in the water? That's what you're saying?
No, it can't. But you don't have, you know, if you add bicarbonate, right, to your aquarium, 14% of the bicarbonate will get carbonate. This is because of the relationship between carbonate, bicarbonate, and CO2.
Okay.
So if you know that this will happen, then the other side need to happen too. So it will also create CO2. It will create HCO3, like, you know, as the carbonic acid, you know. So it lowers your pH. You understand? It's lower for a moment. It lowers your pH. So, and then it buffers it out, right? So this relationship between these three are buffering this seawater. So as more CO2 you have, as lower your pH will be, right, in an aquarium. So mostly aquariums, because they have so many animals that breathe and produce CO2, right, will actually have a bit more CO2, so it lowers the pH. And if you live close to a street, then you also have more CO2 in the air, so you lower this level again, you know, because CO2 is into your aquarium. It's a similar thing like the CO2 acidification of ocean water, you know. It's the same. As more CO2 is in the atmosphere, as more it is in the ocean. So Core 7, you know that people use the rebreather material, the stuff that you put on the, you know, that takes the CO2 out of the air and then it goes to the skimmer. So the
CO2 absorber.
Yeah, correct. So the CO2 absorber is just eliminating the CO2 entering the tank, right? But in Core 7, we use a specific amount of product that actually creates a higher pH. So it forms from the CO2, it forms HCO3. So bicarbonate, what you need for the corals. So we recycle with Core 7. This is a really good thing for aquariums. So we never recommend to use a CO2 absorber on a Core 7 aquarium. That's bad, because you kind of take the CO2 that in excess is there and use it as alkalinity for your corals, right? You can achieve that by just adding something that has a higher pH.
Uma informação muito importante que a gente está falando, né? Eu questionei para ele sobre a questão da extensão de pólipos quando é utilizado com o método Triton. com o Core 7. Isso é uma coisa única. Quem já conhece sabe que os pólipos ficam malucos, principalmente das acróporas, né? Os amigos que ainda não têm da audiência ainda procurem ver um aquário que use. Isso é loucura, é dia e noite, parece a acrópora, né, Jeff, que está em horário de alimentação à noite. Isso é o dia inteiro, e a noite fica maior ainda. E isso, eu questionei para o Ehsan se isso era porque tinha algum alimento, tinha algum aminoácido. E ele relatou que aminoácidos como o glutamínico, ácido glutamínico, acho que foi o que ele me falou, aí ele causa essa extensão de pólipo, mas não é utilizado, não contém nada disso no Core 7. E, inclusive, um dos principais atributos que nós entramos ali seria a adição de um componente que transforma o gás carbônico, que ele recicla o gás carbônico que está na água para ser para funcionar como base de crescimento de coral, para aumentar a reserva alcalina. Então, em hipótese alguma, deve-se usar absorvedores de gás carbônico num aquário que utiliza o Core 7. Jamais pode ser utilizado, por exemplo, cal sodada, que o pessoal colocava para ter um pH mais alto. Isso nunca pode ser feito, porque senão vai ter consequências muito ruins.
Kalkwasser, por exemplo, também, né?
How about Kalkwasser?
Kalkwasser do a similar thing. It can do a similar thing because it's alkaline, so it's very, it's a base. So you add it, similar thing happens, but Kalkwasser is pretty harsh, So let me tell you, we just went off track a bit. So the Polyp Extension, sorry, but because there's too much to it, Right. So the Polyp Extension is created because you don't do water change, and you'll give the trace elements a specific time to get bioavailable. Okay, so you create a very nice environment for a coral. It's not a chemical environment, right? It is a biological environment. So you have a very stable pH, okay? And then this is the chemistry part. And then you add trace elements, but the trace elements are chemistry, okay? So just vanadium or just zinc is not what your coral take, okay? So you need to give it a specific time until it gets biological available for your coral. And let me explain this to you, okay? So in a piece of meat, okay, you have nitrogen, and you have maybe you have copper, and you have maybe vanadium, and you have right? But if a human drink vanadium and drink copper, it's not the same. Like you eat the meat, This is different. So it is biologically available in the meat, while it is not biologically available in a chemical form always. It is the same with vitamins. Like if you eat the pepper, there's a lot of vitamin C in there. But if you eat it, it will all be absorbed. A lot will be absorbed into your body. It's better available for your body. But if you eat the tablet, it's not that available. You know what I mean? It's the same stuff. So you need to rethink it a bit. The time that you have with the Triton product, the Core 7, going into the aquarium and no water changing and giving it a special amount of time and the specific amount of trace elements causes the coral to feel better. And that's why the Polyp extensions appear.
So it's an environmental thing. It's not regarding food or anything like that. It's because you have the right availability and a stable pH.
And it is environment. It is an environmental thing. So a coral feels good, no fluctuation. A coral will expand the polyps more, and they will look all over expanded. If you have a fish, though, you have a fish that eats the polyp, they will be gone. You understand? It's an environmental thing. It's not about, you can tease them. It is fake. You can put something in and they will expand because of the biological reaction, but they will just expand as long as this product is there, and then they will go in there again. But if you want a stable extension, you need to have a stable environment.
Então, por que isso não tem a ver com comida que não está adicionada? Não está adicionado nenhum aminoácido. O produto, ele cria um pH muito mais estável. E ele dispõe, ele coloca determinados níveis de elementos traços que fazem com que os corais absorvam no tempo exato. Ele usou a analogia, por exemplo, de um pedaço de carne. Num pedaço de carne vai ter cobre, vai ter qual outro elemento que ele falou, Jeff, na carne? Que seja, vai ter um outro elemento X. Não vai ser a mesma coisa se eu comer o pedaço de carne e tomar cada um deles. Eles não vão estar... Vanádio, não vai estar disponível ao mesmo tempo no meu corpo. Eu vou ter que comer a carne e aos poucos ele vai liberando isso. Então é isso que o Core 7 faz. Ele promove um ambiente estável, com pH, e ele tem lá os elementos traços necessários que o coral vai começar a absorver quando ele achar necessário. E isso faz com que a gente tenha extensão de pólipos a maior parte do tempo. Okay, let's go for the questions. Jefferson is asking me for that. It's always a lot of things, Ehsan, and this idea...
It's okay, I have a lot of time.
And this idea, Ehsan, that you bring us, I find it completely useful.
We are completely...
The idea that you brought us about the fact of creating a standard filter, and how does it makes to create a standard environment is really amazing. It's truly amazing. We were supposed to get only...
Thank you.
We were supposed to get only 10 minutes, but that's some questions that only you can explain to us. And I'm thinking really wonderful for that.
I'm here. Don't worry, don't worry. I'm good.
Deixa eu colocar uma pergunta aqui então de início.
Vamos lá.
E aí depois você passa para a próxima da pauta. Eu vou colocar em português, aí você traduz para ele. Quando a gente começou com o Triton em fevereiro do ano passado, no Brasil, ninguém falava em gonióporas, manganês para gonióporas. Muita gente achava que macroelementos era somente cálcio, reserva e magnésio. Hoje todo mundo já sabe que enxofre já está quase o dobro na quantidade da água, né, de acordo com os ICPs. Muita gente imaginava que nós tínhamos uma excelente água de qualidade. Hoje a gente sabe que tem alumínio, bário e silício aos montes. E queria saber se o Ehsan também enfrentou essas mesmas questionamentos com os céticos nos outros países.
When the Triton have started over here, there's a lot of skeptical people of believing that it was not necessary. And it was found out, for example, even the water supply, that there's a lot of sulfur, there's a lot of barium, a lot of contaminants inside over there. Jeff question was, you suffer a lot of skeptical people in other countries as well, or in Brazil is a typical situation?
It's everywhere. It was everywhere. I mean, you can see that, the world actually turns into the world of reef keeping is kind of turned into ICP, I mean, we created it, and now everybody is trying to do ICP, right? This is just there's no better way to, to show where the progress is going to, right? So nobody would buy an ICP machine if it wouldn't have any benefit, So a lot of people the last 12 years, we're doing it 12 years now, were skeptical. And I'm agreeing with that. I'm a very skeptical person. This is why I bought an ICP machine, I don't think somebody else is more skeptical than me, But the reality is you need to accept this, and in reef keeping, there was a lot of things that are told to people, and sadly they were not right, so skepticism is a good thing, in my opinion. I'm a scientist, so I'm very skeptical. But what we did was we used to prove ourselves over time, right? So we can't explain every little thing of an ICP to everybody. Nobody will understand everything of it, right? So we did for some people, but we convinced some people like that. But the reality is you need to apply it. You need to use applied science. This is why my company is called Triton Applied Reef Bioscience. You know, it's applied science. It's not chemistry theoretically. You know, it's not chemistry in your head. It's chemistry that you use. You know, do you go, because I will actually not.
Então, sim, houve sempre essa questão de ceticismo. Ele se considera uma pessoa cética, tanto que ele foi atrás do ICP para buscar novas soluções. E a melhor resposta para isso é que várias outras empresas começaram a investir nisso, a investir muita grana em ICP. Eles começaram, eles trouxeram isso, e várias outras empresas estão trazendo isso também. E é claro que muita gente não ficou feliz, muita gente achava que tinha coisas boas e no fim não tinha, e isso foi provado. E ele baseia que a empresa é de ciências aplicadas, não são apenas teóricas, elas são aplicadas. Por isso que a empresa se chama Triton Applied Sciences. E isto tem que aceitar, a questão é que tem que aceitar. Eles não têm tempo, não tem como explicar tudo e todos os detalhes para todas as pessoas de como funciona um teste de CP. E o resultado, mostrando o resultado, é o que vai trazer para as pessoas isso.
So if you kind of understand the way we did it, it's difficult for a lot of people in the old world of reef keeping to understand that this is not theory. You know, for them, a lot of things need to be theoretically explained. You know, which is okay. We can do this. You know, but we also went the way to prove our things in a practical way. So my dad always says, if something works for the people, this is the future, right? So he says that if it don't work, you can explain as much as you want. It will not be a progress, you know, not something that is the future of a industry. But Triton is going the way of something that works, and it is logically explainable. It is having a very logical theory, and I can explain it. But the most of the people, they just do it, and they have good results. You know, this is the kind of way, the other way that we kind of prove things. This is why we have an aquarium. We are a company that has this unbelievable aquarium. You know what I mean? And we had we don't need it. We could just do water tests and sell product. You know, so a lot of companies don't even have an aquarium. They just sell product. But we don't choose that way. You know, and that's it's difficult to say, but the skepticism, skeptical people should look at this, should look what we did the last 12 years, and then understand how to help people. And you go and translate it. I think yes.
As pessoas céticas, elas têm que ficar olhando para as coisas que a Triton fez, como ela manteve os tanques e todo o trabalho que foi feito nos últimos 12 anos. Pessoas antigas, do hobby antigo, elas procuram ir mais para a parte teórica, né? Procuram entender a parte mais teórica e não tanto a parte prática que é mostrada com esses resultados. Então, uma coisa que o pai dele sempre falava é que se traz bons resultados, se traz resultados práticos, é para esse lado que tem que ser seguido.
So the skeptical people, they're not bad people, kind of. They don't want, you know, other people be making the same mistakes they did. You know what I mean? This is what they go on and want to help other people. This is the truth, you know. So they don't want to go there and say Triton is shit. This is not their intention. They want to help other people to not maybe give money, you know, to something they don't need. Right. This is this is my belief that people are not bad people. They just, but often they live in another world of reef keeping, in a very old one. And again, it's one that is based on theory. And sometimes, like in the trace elements, this is from 1974. This is too old, you know. This is just now the time now. We have ICP. We have so many, like we have the Triton method as a standard. We have so many things that we can make better, and it's everybody's decision to do it however he want to. But you know, logically, there is no way that that you would say, you know, I'm doing old school reef keeping, you know, and kind of be more successful, you know?
O pensamento do Ehsan é que as pessoas que são muito céticas, elas não são malvadas por natureza. Elas não gostam, não odeiam a Triton, os produtos da Triton. O Ehsan acredita que essas pessoas, elas gostam de ajudar os outros, que elas gostam de pensar que as pessoas não precisam gastar dinheiro, fazer um investimento, porque elas tiveram um determinado sucesso e elas querem ajudar os outros a fazer isso. Mas é uma linha de pensamento que está baseada em estudos muito antigos e que não leva em consideração essas variáveis, né, que a gente está conversando. Então, essa é a linha de pensamento que ele traz. A gente está falando sobre os testes de ICP, né, sobre os equipamentos. O quão importante é a calibração, né, para que a gente evite erros de medições, né? E entrando nessa questão também, por que vem sempre duas provetas, né, com os testes do ICP e o NDOC? So I'm going inside of that about ICP testing. How important is the calibration of the machine to avoid noises in the results? And why the ICP and the NDOC came with 2 vials?
Okay, wait a second. Just one more thing to tell to the skeptical people.
Mm-hmm.
I am a fan of skeptical people. So the next time we do a Zoom, I would really like them to be on there and ask questions. I answer these questions.
That's marvelous.
I really like that, because when I'm doing a talk, nobody is there skeptical, you know. It's always like good people just sitting there, and you know what I mean? But
I completely agree with you. I believe that's the best thing that we could do.
We
invite them because sometimes they just need answers, and they just need to get answers, you know, and I answer them, no problem at all. Okay, so
here in Brazil, one thing in Brazil that I'm also an importer by myself. I mentioned that in various situations, and there's a lot of taxes and import taxes and exchange rate. So the one thing that costs maybe $30, 30 euros over there, it's a huge amount of money in Brazil because of those taxes, because of those exchange rate, and people believe that we are really, really greedy, and that's not the reality. No. That's something that we want to bring the hobby forward, because I believe that if there was no passion from your side, you wouldn't be doing that.
No, and right? It was a lot of investment. I mean, nobody before us ever invested that much money into reef industry. We have 4 machines. We have a packing machine that fills, you know, this packing machine costs 600,000 euros, right? Just to let you know, and we are the only ones having a packing machine like that. But we reduced 95% of plastic in our whole production, you know. And I think last year calculations was we have saved 18 ton of pure plastic, just because. But you know, these things people don't see right now because our industry is not like that. But anyway. Let's go back to ICP. We'll do this the next time, 100%. Next time we'll do this, okay? But
o Ehsan deixou um convite muito importante para as pessoas que são céticas a respeito do produto. O Ehsan fez um convite para que numa próxima live essas pessoas entrem na conexão de Zoom conosco e conversem. Ele vai ter o maior prazer em responder essas questões. E relatei, né, Jeff? Isso é muito bacana do Ehsan, né, Jeff?
Mas o que acontece é que geralmente as pessoas, os céticos, eles buscam a informação de outros lugares e às vezes não aceitam, né, esse tipo de discussão que eleva o nível do hobby, né? Isso que a gente já falou bastante aí. Mas, beleza, vamos em frente. Outra pergunta do ICP, Edu.
Okay, let me repeat once again the ICP testing. How important is the calibration on the ICP machine, and how this procedure avoid noises on the results?
Okay.
Why the ICP and NDOC testing come with 2 vials?
Okay, so first of all, why they come with 2 vials? Okay, because when we only test 1 vial, right? 1 vial will be kept for 3 weeks. Okay, so we do 2 things with that. First thing is we ensure that if somebody has a problem and he said, oh, look, I can't believe the results, there's something, maybe, there's too much lead or there's something strange, we can test the second vial. So we can ensure that the results the machine gave the first time is correct, right?
Porque vem com 2 frascos. O primeiro frasco ele é testado e o segundo ele é guardado durante 3 semanas. Caso a pessoa conteste os resultados, ache, tem muito chumbo no meu aquário, isso é impossível, eles vão lá e vão fazer um teste com esse segundo frasco.
Yes. It is the same thing with when we have a power cut, for example. So something happens to electricity while the machine is testing the samples, So we cannot test
each sample, Ehsan?
It takes around 10 minutes for the sample itself. But the machine needs 1 hour to be calibrated before that. It needs half an hour to be heating up, so there is a lot of things before that you need to do.
Então, são 1 hora, são 10 minutos para testar, mas a questão é que tu tem que ter uma meia hora de aquecimento, 1 hora de calibração. Então, cada teste leva um tempão para ser feito. E, puxa vida, me fugiu agora. O que mais que ele está falando? Ok, Ehsan, please go on. I forgot a part.
No problem. So I said we test if something breaks in the machine. So if the machine is kind of, like I say, like there's a power cut or the electricity is gone and the machine stops working, then we need to redo all the samples. We cannot use the same samples again. We redo all the samples. So this is the second vial too. So we call it the fail safe, right? So when we have a problem, we use the second sample. Sometimes
se tem algum problema, se faltar energia, alguma coisa, cortar energia, eles vão ter que refazer de novo. And son, how about the calibration? It is being made after each sample, or it is a set of samples?
No, it is a set. It's 52 samples that we can measure on one calibration in a normal way. We actually, there is a lot of things that I also cannot say because it's the property of the company, right? So other people would like to know these things, but in general, the calibration is the main thing on an ICP. Okay, so the ICP itself cannot do anything without being calibrated with a specific method. This is what you call it, right? So the specific method means that the way you add the sample into the plasma, right? It's very important because you have all these physical things going on before. You have pumps, you have syringes, so all these things automatically add your sample into the plasma. And the calibration is one big part of this method, right? So how you calibrate the machine is very important. Also, how you measure is very important. So for example, we measure in 2 phases, right? So we measure the macro elements separated from the trace elements. This is very important, because an ICP machine is made for trace elements, is not made for macro elements. Okay, so there's a lot of things that you kind of need to understand about ICP testing before I can answer this question really, but if you don't calibrate the machine, and that's the important one, with seawater, okay, with seawater, you can calibrate it with fresh water, and if you do this, it looks better for the results, but they are wrong. You need to calibrate the matrix of seawater always. It's the main thing on ICPs, actually on every system.
Então, é muito importante que tu faça a calibração com água salgada, tá? A cada calibração funciona até 52 testes. E isso aí tá o principal segredo do negócio. Essas metodologias de como, por exemplo, como tu adiciona a água na seringa que vai jogar na máquina de ICP. Tudo isso é uma característica muito importante e que todos os concorrentes dele gostariam de saber. porque ele tem um método específico para fazer. Outro detalhe importante é que os macroelementos são medidos em separado dos microelementos. Então, são duas fases de medição.
So, I would say, if you would say what is important to a ICP machine, to testing ICP in reef keeping, the most important thing is the method. And the method is actually only we have our own method. This is the main work I did for reef keeping. I created this method of testing, you know. So I got the ICP, but the people that sell the ICP, they don't give you a working method. They just give you the ICP machine. And then the chemist and the physician, or what a chemical technician, or whatever you want to call it, he need to go there and use this machine and make a method and then calibrate. And if the calibration is valuable, like it's a good calibration, then you have created a method of testing seawater or honey or whatever you want to test, you know. But you can test everything with the ICP machine.
Quando as máquinas são vendidas, elas são vendidas para um uso geral. Tu que tem que criar um método para que tu vai usar. Se tu vai usar para mel, se tu vai usar para vinho, se tu vai usar para água salgada. E todo o segredo está na criação desse método de testes de água salgada que o Ehsan criou. Aí está o grande segredo do negócio. Ehsan, uma das coisas que o pessoal fala e fala de novo é que é muito barato os testes. Aqui, quando tu vai fazer um teste de ICP, são milhares e milhares de reais que tem que ser para um elemento. Como que pode vocês fazerem tantos testes e como é mantida essa qualidade, sendo que o teste é barato, relativamente barato em comparado com os outros? So, Ehsan, a lot of arguments on the really skeptical people is, oh, how can you do a proper ICP testing when it is so less expensive? It's not expensive at all, because here in Brazil, when you want to taste, to check a specific element, it's a lot of money to do that.
That's a very good question. It's an awesome question. I love this question. At least somebody thinks of a good question.
Ehsan, let me tell you the analogy I use here. You know, to have a part in the US space station, you need probably 8 decimals of precision. Okay. The same part to print in my 3D printing here, I don't need, 2 decimals of precision.
It is very similar to that, okay? But it's actually, it sounds like we're not good enough, but it's not. It's okay. Anyway, so let me explain that. There are 2 types of laboratory, right? 2 types. There's one type of laboratory that is that measures whatever matrix. You call it a matrix, right? So you can send them fresh water, seawater, honey, soil, whatever you can imagine, you can send them, right? So these people they have a lot of machines. They don't only have an ICP. They have ICP MS, ICP IOS. They have a machine like NDoc. They will have so many machines there, okay? So what they do is you say, I want to have my seawater tested, and then I did this before too. So I want to have that tested, and they will ask you which element you want to test. Which elements? They will ask you. They will say, what do you want? And then you say, okay, I want sodium, and I want magnesium, and I want vanadium. And so for every element, you pay. Each element you pay, okay? That's very expensive, because at the end you have 36 elements, 40 elements you want to test, and that's every element costs you $10. So you end up with $400 per test, right? These laboratories are environmental laboratories, so they are used to this. They separate every element and run every test on the ICP for one element. Can you understand what I say?
Yes,
this is per run.
Per run, one element. Yeah. This is very precise, though. This is good, but it's also very expensive. So when we test 40 elements, let's say, and we use one run, they use 40. That's getting very expensive. So this is one main difference between a generic laboratory and a specialized laboratory. So we are a specialized laboratory. That means we just test one matrix. We just test seawater. Okay, for now, seawater, just seawater. So we calibrate on just seawater and we run only seawater. And doing this make the test very cheap because we just need one run to validate all the test results. You call that broadband measurement, okay? So you can calculate how much gas I use, how much time I use, how much electricity I use for every run of 52 plus everything else. And then you get a price, and that's what we kind of have now.
Ehsan, how many testing you do per day in the Germany? That I believe that's the main one.
Nah, it's not the main one though. It's actually pretty much all over the world. So worldwide, we actually do maybe 300, 350. What is it? We have 4 machines, 52. Yeah. So around, normally we would say maximum is 200 tests a day, right?
So about 50 per lab.
Yeah, so 52 per lab is one whole run, but sometimes we get more samples. So we do one half run and then a whole run. So you're limited by time. On 24 hours, you can do a specific amount of tests. And on 24 hours, we normally with our method can do maybe 70 tests around on each machine. So that's the maximum.
Como que funciona, tá? Em relação a essa questão do preço, como que os testes de ICP da Triton podem ser tão econômicos quando comparados com laboratórios específicos, né? Isso é um dos principais argumentos das pessoas que têm muito ceticismo com os testes da Triton. Quando tu faz laboratórios, quando tu recorre a um laboratório, esse laboratório geralmente ele testa várias coisas. Esses laboratórios, eles testam solo, testam mel, por exemplo, testam o que tu quiser. Então, eles têm vários tipos de máquina, tem um custo estrutural muito maior. E quando eles vão fazer os testes, eles te perguntam quais elementos tu quer medir. E eles fazem um teste específico, uma prova específica para cada elemento. E eles te cobram, obviamente, por elemento, que tem um custo absurdo. Lá na Triton, eles fazem... trabalham somente com água salgada. E o teste ele vai fazer com uma amostra um jogo de testes que, obviamente, não vai ser tão preciso quanto fazer um elemento único, mas que vai atender muito bem. E eles reduzem todos esses custos fixos porque eles trabalham exclusivamente com água salgada para o aquário marinho. Ou seja, não precisa calibrar uma máquina para um elemento diferente, não precisa escolher os elementos que vão estar sendo medidos. Ali tudo é reduzido dessa forma. Em todos os laboratórios eles fazem em torno de 300 testes dias. Isso dá aproximadamente 52 testes por laboratório, tá? Então, é isto que faz ser tão eficiente.
Oh.
Yes, that's really good. Now we can understand that, and of course you already tested it. The precision can be kept from the number 1 to the number 52, right?
Yes, correct. That's something that we anyway do. So we have quality tests at the beginning, at the end, and all between the tests we have always a seawater sample that is known. So you see this. If there is a difference, you see it, and even the machine can calculate it back, so you can see which run has which kind of variation, if there is one.
That's nice.
Yeah. And we also have like a million other things. It's just because it's a very sophisticated device. It's not that easy to explain. But the easy ones are rechecking all the samples. Then we do the second while. We don't drop them away when nobody needs them. So the second while is used for a long-term stability test on the same sample. So sometimes we go and grab one of the second vials and we test them and check 3 weeks ago if the sample, you know what I mean? The sample of the, let's say Jefferson have sent the sample and there are 2, and we don't need a second one because Jefferson not, he's happy with every result and there was nothing. So after 3 weeks, we test the sample of Jefferson again, because Jefferson's aquarium is different to a standard seawater. So we need to look if there is something changed in 3 weeks.
Okay.
So we also do these things. And this is why we don't test nitrate anymore. In the beginning, when 2008, we tested nitrate, NO3. But the standard tests always came out good. There was no problem, But this test came out wrong. So the test of people, the real world test result, the second sample came out wrong. And this was why we stopped. We said we don't test nitrate anymore. So you need to understand that there's a lot of variables that, shipping the sample, taking the sample and stuff that could affect our results too. So we always check if there is anything happening, in the transport, in waiting a long time, if the bacteria would cause any problem. So there are so many things that people don't even think of right now, but in the ICP, for example, if you have bacteria, it could be that your phosphate will be bound to the bacteria. And what if the ICP don't test the bacteria? You will end up with 0 phosphate, So all this we have tested, and always we keep testing.
Como nós falamos ali, né, essa questão da calibração, né, é feita uma vez por dia, provavelmente, e ela testa até 52 testes, que é a quantidade de testes que ele faz por dia, geralmente. Só que isso não quer dizer que a máquina não é checada. Eles têm uma solução padrão e que entre determinado número eles vão lá e testam para ver se está batendo. Se deu algum erro, vai ser corrigido e, se for necessário, vai ser calibrado novamente. Então, é sempre certo que do primeiro ao último teste eles vão estar de acordo com a calibragem, graças a essa solução padrão. Existem outros casos também, como por exemplo essa questão do segundo frasco, que é enviado. Se o cliente não requisita, ela fica lá guardada e eles fazem testes periódicos, comparam se aquela amostra que estava lá guardada vai bater com os testes ainda, se houve ou não alguma espécie de degradação. E esse foi o principal motivo que eles pararam, por exemplo, de testar nitrato e testar fosfato. Fosfato pode ser consumido por bactérias que estejam ali dentro, né? Então, foi excluído isso porque pode apresentar uma variação, assim como o nitrato. Nitrato, ele constatou que dava diferença na amostra que estava guardada, apesar da solução padrão sempre trazer o mesmo resultado correto. Então, eles tiraram o nitrato também dessa análise. So that's quite good, Ehsan, because when a lot of people saw this Richard Ross article about being skeptical, and this thing is quite interesting that you took out the whole variables and that idea of contamination, for example, taking the vials from the deep of the aquarium, not in the top of, and these things, they don't play a big change in the ICP testing, right?
Yeah, I know. Look, yes, it does sometimes and sometimes not. And we need to understand when and what, happens. So I know Richard Ross, I know him. So at that time he was very skeptical, which is okay. And he wants to help people again. And at that time, we were the only one that had ICP testing on the world. Okay. So he was skeptical. It's okay. Like a lot of other people are skeptical. But the reality is that you do this, and this is what Jefferson want to say. We call this fit for purpose. That means that you need to understand aquariums to be able to make a test like that. Because if you don't understand what is important for an aquarium, you don't need what you really need to look at. Okay, so let me explain that with one practical thing. For example, mercury, okay? Mm-hmm. In German, it's quicksilver, but it's mercury. It's an element that in ICP testing will glue to the wall of the plastic container. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you have mercury in the sample and you have it over a time. you will not measure it with the ICP anymore. Mercury, okay, just this element. So now we did our test and we saw, yeah, that's happening, you know, after 3 weeks, you know, you only find 50% of the mercury that you possibly added, you know, maybe. Just an example. I'm not going to tell you the right numbers because that's something that, but this is the reality of things. So you lose a bit of mercury. But now you look at how long does it take to do a test. So normally it takes 1 to 2 weeks maximum, you know, so 2 weeks is a realistic thing. So in 2 weeks, you still find 70% of mercury. So then you look in the aquarium. Why do I need mercury for? So if you find mercury in an aquarium, you better do a water change. This is the only thing you do. You just won't get rid of it. You don't need it in there, you know. So we could do a lot of things to get 100% mercury reading after 3 weeks. We can do this. It's getting more expensive. You know, we can do something to, but there is no need to, because it's not really, when you find it, you know what to do. You know, this
it's qualitative and not quantitative.
Exactly.
Correct. Exactly. This is one parameter that should be just qualitative. You know, it's sure it's interesting to see if you have 500 microgram or 5, you know, but still, if you have it, something is wrong, you know. So and you understand the aquarium, then you understand how to make a fit for purpose method. All these things need to be accounted.
Isso que o Ehsan está falando é muito interessante também, pessoal. Um dos principais argumentos em relação, por exemplo, à precisão dos testes de ICP. Claro que existem muitas coisas que podem tornar ele mais preciso, mais relevante. O exemplo que ele trouxe, como por exemplo o mercúrio. O mercúrio foi constatado que após 3 semanas dentro do frasco, o mercúrio vai se grudar nas paredes plásticas dos frascos. E isso vai reduzir em torno de 50% as medições de mercúrio. Agora, quando o teste é feito com 1 semana, 2 semanas no máximo, tu ainda vai ter 70% de mercúrio nos níveis que estariam presentes dentro do aquário no momento da coleta. O que significa isso? Tu tem que entender, tu tem que saber como, por exemplo, o mercúrio. O mercúrio é um contaminante. Não importa o nível que tu tiver, se tu tiver alguma coisa lá de dentro, tu tem que fazer uma troca d'água. Tu não precisa saber se tu tem 10, se tu tem 9, se tu tem 3. Se tu tiver mais de um, tu tem que resolver o problema com uma troca d'água. Ponto. Então, ele é um teste, nesse caso do mercúrio, é um teste muito mais qualitativo. Se tem ou se não tem, do que quantitativo. Tem 9 miligramas por litro, tem 3 miligramas por litro. Então, existe como fazer, mas iria aumentar muito o custo para uma coisa que não ia servir para nada. Tu tens que saber se existe esse contaminante ou não.
Yeah, so...
nice. Yeah, go ahead, Ehsan.
So yeah, it's like I said, the fit for purpose is something that is making something applicable. Again, it is something that you practically use, you know. It's a tool. So it's making the thing a tool. If you want to go on court, you possibly should send the sample to a certified lab in Brazil, which is certified for a court. You know what I mean? Not to us. But all these things in analytics have their place. And to be honest, if you send your sample and do it for €400 test in Brazil, I believe it is not that practical for a reef keeper than doing a test with us, because we tell you what to do with the results afterwards, but they can't. They just give you the numbers. You understand what I mean? And that's the fit for purpose.
Vantagem, né, a principal coisa é que, além da Triton dar o resultado, ela dá o que tu tem que fazer, como que tu tem que agir para corrigir ou ajustar. E isso, se tu quiser pagar lá €400, etc., bem mais caro, tu não vai ter o que fazer, tu não vai ter as instruções. Vamos falar sobre o NDoc do Ricardo Rio ou já partimos para o STN? O que tu acha?
Não, segura o STN então aí, peraí, só um pouquinho. Uma pergunta aqui, aliás, 2 perguntas de STN, a gente pode pegar junto porque o STN está ligado com ele.
Tá.
O STN o NDoc é um teste que foi lançado em fevereiro do ano passado, se não me engano, né? Isso, março do ano passado. E ele vem sendo melhorado. Existe alguma previsão para a gente ter na aba dosagem os produtos orgânicos lá dentro? Essa é a pergunta.
So NDoc was launched last year in March, right, Ehsan?
Yes, could be. We have the over 2 years we have the system. Yeah, so could
over
be
2 years already.
Yeah, because before we launch it, we need to do a 7 months or 8 months run.
Okay.
So it's not that easy, you know.
Ehsan, when can we expect to have the dosage part to include the organics with the NDoc readings?
Very soon. I'm not going to say more.
Ele disse que muito próximo, que ele não vai dizer quando, mas vai ser muito próximo.
Uma pergunta relacionada aqui com STN. Várias pessoas usando o STN e tendo resultado. Um deles é o Daniel Pedroso. O próprio Ricardo Rio usou no aquário dele também. E sentiu também uma melhora na coloração. Tá? Qual seria o prazo máximo que se poderia usar STN no aquário, ou se ele poderia usar uma dosagem preventiva por um indeterminado tempo?
A lot of people using STNX
have
also a color improvement in the coral. So the question is, till when they can continue using that?
They can use it all the time. No, you can use it all the time. Absolutely safe, no problem at all. Even if you use all of them together, there was one guy used all of them at once, and it's just nothing that is dangerous. You know, you can use it, no problem at all.
Pode usar todos, não vai ter problema, e pode usar por tempo indeterminado. Uma pergunta agora que eu vou trazer para o Ehsan até onde eu sabia, o STN era causado por uma bactéria víbrio, não, por um vírus víbrio, e que era isso que se especulava. O que o Ehsan achou com os testes? Isso se confirmou ou não sobre o que causa a STN e o RTN? Ehsan, the things related to STN and RTN, I have read that it was a virus from the Vibrio family. You have found that in your findings in your ICP testing as well, or you believe it's a different thing?
No, actually STN and RTN seem to be a symptom of various problems. So it's not one thing doing RTN or one thing doing STN. This is what we kind of see. So there is, for example, it has shown that RTN can be a parasite too. There is a parasite causing, a very little parasite causing RTN, you know, but it also can be a bacteria. So you have this is the problem with RTN and STN. You have one result, which is RTN, and everything is dead right away, or STN, but you have several causes, right? And RTNX and STNX only help against bacterial, not viral, only bacterial.
Oh, I see it.
So,
and bacteria are the main causes for it in the reef aquarium?
Yeah, so virus is very rare. The virus is really bad. A virus is, I mean, I don't need to tell you in Corona time that a virus is fucking bad, you know, but it is really something you don't want to have in an aquarium, you know. But normally you have issues with like something looking sick. Something is sick in an aquarium is either bacterial or parasite. With fish is very often parasite, very often, right? And with corals, actually also. So you have for Acropora species, you have so many parasites that are bad, and a lot of people here look at, and all over the world look at, you know, scientists look at every time at parasites. I mean, Julian is a parasitologist. You know, Julian Baggio is a parasitologist, so he works for Triton actually, and he knows a fucking shitload about parasites. But the thing is that you need to understand that parasites are more difficult to conquer than bacteria, and in many cases, bacteria are quicker. So bacteria will cause a RTN in a week. You know what I mean? Like it's just quick. Sometimes they get out of control, and some things like that happen. And we found that this product was a bit of a try to get something against parasites, right? So Julian and me were sitting there and saying, we need to find something against parasites because there are some more parasites that people think of coral. And then he said, I wish it would be a bacteria. They are so easier to kill. and then I said, well, yeah. So maybe we just take that, right? And then we created RTN and STNX, but it's just for bacteria, right? So we're working on the piece. So and it helps a lot of people. Still helps a lot of people. So you don't know which one you have. You don't know it's a parasite or a bacteria, and you use the RTNX and it works. Then it was a bacteria. This is the way it works. So it's just a helpful tool.
O STN, o slow tissue necrosis e o rapid tissue necrosis, a questão da necrose de tecido rápido, da necrose de tecido lenta, ela pode ser causada por várias coisas. Ela é um sintoma, ela não é uma doença. Esse sintoma ele pode ser causado por causa de bactérias, de vírus ou de parasitas. Os produtos que a Triton faz são para a parte de bactérias. Ou seja, a STN e a RTN que tu vai estar tendo no teu aquário, e se tu usar os produtos e resolver, vai ser porque ela era uma infecção bacteriológica. Isso é que o remédio, que essas medicações, elas tratam, tá? E elas são a grande maioria dos casos dentro do aquarismo marinho. É muito difícil ter alguma outra. É possível, existe, mas é improvável. Então é aí que entra estes produtos. Vamos lá, vamos para a próxima pergunta. Depois de um aquário... Acho que tu faz a pergunta, Jeff. Tu faz a pergunta em português, eu traduzo para ele.
Tá bom. Tem várias perguntas relacionadas com bactéria aqui, várias, tá?
Tá.
Se, depois do meu aquário estabilizado, eu posso utilizar bactérias periodicamente, se a Triton indica alguma marca, e se tem algum problema essas bactérias competirem com outras bactérias dentro do aquário.
In the bacterial, since we are chatting about the bacterial side,
só para esclarecer, isso utilizando o método Triton, né, obviamente, tá?
When using the Triton method, when aquarium is already stabilized, is it okay for us to use bacterial-based products, for example, Biodigest, the Prodibio line? Do you see any problem when doing that?
Well, you sometimes see some problems, and sometimes, like many times, you actually don't. It's all right, It's just when you do it on the base elements, like on the Triton method, you're still safe because you just change one thing. So you don't do 10 things at once. Like don't do bacteria here, bacteria there, trace elements there. That's not good. Because then you kind of lose the science behind it, right? So if you want to add a bit of bacteria to see if something gets better, you can do it, no problem. And you know what you have done, and we know what you're doing. We know exactly the difference we will see. And a lot of people do this, and we learn, right? We know because they did it, and they tell us, and we say, oh, okay, so you used biopellets, and now you have arsenic and copper. And you run the Triton method. You understand what I mean? So you run the Triton method. It's 100% no copper and arsenic. So you can isolate things when you do this. And people should do it that way. They should do it for themselves, isolated. So when they run a tank, it's nice, it's looking wonderful, and they want to use an amino acid, please use just one amino acid, and then you carry on for a while, look at it, it's okay. No problem at all.
Problemas em ser adicionado isso, tá? Mas você tem que fazer as coisas de forma ordenada. Não adianta tu botar bactéria e depois botar aminoácido e botar não sei mais o que. Tu tem que seguir um padrão, tu tem que botar alguma coisa e tu olhar, tu aprender. É assim que eles vão aprendendo, como por exemplo os biopellets. Foi colocado, tu tem um padrão que é o método Triton, no Core 7 o método Triton, e apareceu o arsênico. e cobre. E isso jamais vai ter nos produtos dele. Então, assim que tu consegue isolar e analisar. Então, fazer as coisas de forma ordenada.
E só para adicionar, que ele pode usar qualquer produto desse aí, mas ao longo dos ICPs que ele vai fazendo, ele vai ver se tem algum problema ou não. É isso aí que é o caso, né?
Uhum. Uma pergunta aqui do pessoal, né? Que eu também acho que ele deve estar meio cansado de ouvir. Essa questão de troca de água. Quanto tempo que eu tenho que ficar, que eu posso começar a ficar sem troca de água? É uma pergunta bem recorrente, vamos escutar uma resposta de Ehsan. Ehsan, so there's a lot of question, I believe that you can hear all the time. When can I stop making water changes when starting with the Triton method?
Actually, you can, when you send in one sample ICP and you see how your tank is looking, you know. So water change is just a tool. In your mind, you can stop it right away, but you need to check if everything is okay with your aquarium. So if you have lead in the aquarium or you have arsenic from before, then you need to get rid of it. So you need to do water change. There's no way out. So you do the water change until everything is looking okay. And when you start dosing Triton, then you can stop doing water change. Because then nothing happens to your aquarium that is bad anymore. We have quality controlled everything.
A troca de água é uma ferramenta para tu botar as coisas de volta ao normal. Então, depois, quando tu manda o primeiro teste e tu verifica se tá tudo dentro do certinho, tu não precisa fazer. Tu não vai precisar fazer. Agora, se tu tiver arsênico, se tiver algum outro contaminante grave, tu tens que corrigir esse problema e esse problema vai ser corrigido fazendo uma troca d'água. Então, respondendo a pergunta faz o teste, se tiver tudo certinho, não precisa mais fazer.
Adicionando aqui, Edu, também, é o seguinte, tem muita gente que está usando só o Core 7 e acha que está no método Triton, não está fazendo ICP. Então, quem vai dar essa resposta, acho que você pode perguntar para o Ehsan, quem vai dar essa resposta é o próprio teste ICP, né? Se ele deve fazer troca d'água ou não.
So a lot of people are using the Core 7, but they are not completely in the Triton method. And so...
ICP. Vai, fala aí, desculpa, só para colocar...
Eu não consegui escutar, por favor, pode perguntar direto para ele.
There are many people, Ehsan, using Core 7, but not running the full Triton method. They are missing the ICP test. So they would like to assume when they can stop doing water changes. So...
I understand. I understand the question. Yeah, I understand. So, well, I mean, normally you could do if he is doing every week water change, it depends on how much water change he's done before. So when he's doing regular water change and then he starts the Core 7 stuff and he want to reduce water change, is very much about what he's adding else, you know. So if he's keep adding trace elements based on 1974 barling, then it's just something that he need to carry on water changing because there is no way out, you know. If he just uses the Core 7 and he do a test from time to time, an ICP test, he can be secure, you know, so he can maybe reduce the amount of water change. But the Triton method is the only logical, explainable way you stop water changing. You know, everything else will cause a bit of fluctuance. So if you don't check it with an ICP and you add trace elements or amino acids or whatever, or you're using other filter things, you can't be sure if you're not contaminating the tank. You cannot be sure because you know, it's really about the security if somebody don't want to do water change.
A única forma segura de ter certeza que tu está fazendo corretamente é utilizando um teste de CP. Utilizando essa ferramenta para dizer se tu não está botando contaminantes ali dentro. Se tu está botando alguma outra coisa que não é baseada no método, isso pode gerar contaminação para ti. isso pode trazer problemas. Então não adianta, tu não vai fugir, tu tem que fazer essa questão do teste. And I'm still amused that the Polyp Extension is only caused by the stability of the tank. That's truly amazing, Ehsan.
Look, if you look in my tank, and some people, you need to know one thing. The best polyp extension you will have in the night time, right? Mm-hmm. In the night, if you look in my tank in the night, the corals look that they have hair, like they're so much polyp, Yeah, but it is also, again, it's an environmental thing. It's also the fish, in the daytime, some people have fish that just bites the polyps. So the coral will not show too much polyp. Even the water will be good, but they don't show it because they will get eaten, So a lot of things like that happens too, and you need to just realize, but it's not only the food that polyps will expand, It's just, this is the way it is. It's not only.
That's really nice. A question from Jefferson. Como que o Júlio Baggio e o Vincent Callas estão contribuindo para a base de conhecimento da Triton? How Julian Baggio and Vincent Callas are contributing to Triton's knowledge base, Ehsan?
They drink a lot. Julian more than Vincent, but it's very balanced.
Francês aí ferrou, né?
The one is on wine, the other on beer. So it's very horrible situation. But anyway, no, it's not. So actually, Julian, we all have our own expertise, right? Mm-hmm. So I always say the best things we achieve is when we fight. So for example, I'll give you an example with the Frenchman, with Vincent Callas. I had a big discussion about the LPS, right? Because he's looking at LPS and he wanna grow LPS in Bali, and so he asked me about the water and stuff, and we got a discussion, and then he said, "Oh yeah, but a lot of people say dirty water," and I said, "Yes, a lot of people say dirty water, but they mean the particles, the same thing that I told you in the beginning, right?" Mm-hmm. And he said, "Yeah, but they need dirty water. They're not the same water with like BSPs." And I said, no, the water is the same. It's just a particle, So we kind of, there is a lot of, we are a bit on the same level, right? So the discussions between us are very helpful a lot of times. The same thing with the parasite, we search for a parasite solution, but we find a bacterial one. A lot of things like that are very helpful. But the main thing is that to give people like them, they're practical people. Again, it's a practical thing. We're an applied company. So give them the insight into data, that we collected, into the comparison. Just try to find solutions by logical, scientific kind of, approach. This is what we do here. So Vincent is in Bali. He's not even close to us that much, So he can't come over for the moment because of Corona. But the reality is that it is all expertise and kind of what you see and what you do every day. A bit like the apple that fall on Newton's head. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like if he's not under the tree, then this fucking apple will not happen to fall on his head. So Vincent is somebody who's always under the tree. He's out there all the time, and doing coral fragmentation, and he's always in the water. He's doing pictures. He's doing all this stuff. Julian is with me here, and we actually, do a similar thing here in Australia as much as we can. But we have a lot of people here like Cairns Marine, like all the exporters that store coral in, for a week and then ship them. So you have all these things that influence what you maybe can learn, what you maybe can turn into an answer, and that's very helpful. That's what we do all the time. It's a bit of not the type of university science, but the type of field science, somebody that is out there and experience things and then try to turn them into something.
A principal contribuição dessas duas pessoas aí, né, o Julian Baggio e o Vincent Callas, tá em trazer um ponto de vista diferente dele, em trazer novas ideias, já que eles estão sempre no campo, sempre vivenciando isso. O Vincent Callas foi um dos primeiros a fazer fragmentação de coral, exportação de coral, e o cara é um monstro. Ele tem vários episódios aí no YouTube aí, com o Jake Adams também, mostrando todo esse trabalho. E essa tá a principal contribuição dele. Eles trazem ideias e pontos de vista diferentes, como, por exemplo, a forma que eles descobriram lá a questão do STNX, que foi atacar as bactérias. Dentro dessa pergunta, né, das diferentes centros, nós já vamos para a pergunta do Cláudio também. Teve uma pergunta que considerei bem interessante, Jeff, que é o Cássio Capati. Com o banco de dados que a Triton tem, ele consegue nos dizer qual é o problema mais recorrente que os brasileiros enfrentam em relação a outras nacionalidades? Eu não sei se ele saberia responder isso ou se tu saberia responder isso, Jeff.
Pergunta para ele, eu posso adicionar depois, tanto faz.
Tá bom. Ehsan, with your ICP testing database, which are the problems that you see that most Brazilian faces when compared to other nations?
In the moment, I would assume it's not enough to be, it's still not enough to be able to say like this is a Brazilian problem, like we have possibly in America or in Europe. But to be honest, it looks very similar to the normal pattern that people use blind dosing. A lot of them have trace element, like too high trace elements, and sometimes contamination is also a big problem. We're looking deeper into some things that are more biological, because the people in Brazil use these blocks very often, while in other countries they don't. So we don't have that many people using in America these bio blocks, for example, but that's nothing that you can see right away on an ICP again. So you need to kind of first wait for a lot of data, then extract the Brazilians that are really Brazilians, because you will have a lot of interference, like a lot of noise. You don't, maybe somebody from Mexico send it over, whatever, and you know what I mean? They don't never know these things. So you kind of need to see that, and then you can come up with something. But in the moment, it's very much contamination, to be honest. Like the water change thing works maybe the best. It's something that you would have seen in Europe 8 years ago. It's a similar pattern,
So these bioblocks, the main problem is that they the bacteria that live over there, they consume some types of trace elements.
No, I don't believe that. This is why I say I'm not seeing this exactly on an ICP, so it's very difficult to see that somebody is always low in trace elements. This is not really something that you will really see. It's more about what leaches out, like what this block is made of,
For example, can you show us a case?
Yes, maybe. So example, there are two kinds of what do you call it, ceramics you use in normally. Yeah, so you have silicate in them or aluminium. There's two kinds, right? The aluminium would take a lot of phosphate. You take away phosphate, so you can't. The aluminium oxide based one would take, so you normally use a silicate based sometimes, but you see a lot of silicium then in there. So right now we're actually looking at, because it's just it's something that you talk about, like people have problems, they send pictures, we look at them. Jefferson get a lot of pictures and questions, so we look at this data and then we try to find a realistic solution in the ICP. If something matches, if something looks like, oh, look, silicate or the silicon in Brazilian tank water is always very high, and the similar amount of people using the bioblocks, so we know that this could be a case. We cut a piece of the bioblock, we test it in acid, we can see that which one is made of, and so on. So for now, I think it's too early to give you a right away saying like this is your problem. I don't believe that. It's not true. It's just too less information for now.
Respondendo à pergunta, então, do amigo ali, sobre se existe uma tendência nos principais problemas em relação ao mercado brasileiro, que foram constatados pelos testes de CP. A Ehsan relata que ainda é muito cedo para afirmar, mas ele acredita que existe uma tendência em que os problemas são parecidos com os enfrentados na Europa, por exemplo, lá no começo, anos atrás, que era um excesso, uma sobredosagem de elementos traço, porque ninguém tinha como medir isso, né, pessoal? Todo mundo ia adicionando porque dizia, a garrafinha dizia para adicionar. Então, isso ele pode apontar como uma possível tendência, não tem nada específico. Um outro fator preocupante são a questão desses bioblocos, que é febre aqui no Brasil, que aqui a gente usa muito mais do que a Europa, do que a América do Norte. E que isso pode trazer problemas, já que eles são baseados em 2 materiais, ou sílica, né, ou a base de alumínio. E isso pode gerar um problema que pode ocasionar. Ele não vê um grande consumo de elementos traço, porque isso não tem como tu medir, né? Não tem como deixar isso claro. Mas pode acontecer esse tipo de contaminação. Pergunta do Cláudio, Jeff, qual foi?
Vamos lá. O Cláudio Vidal, nosso amigo aqui, está perguntando qual o local mais remoto onde já foi coletado água, né, no planeta, provavelmente Recife de Coral, ele quer dizer, é mergulhador também, igual eu, para análise, e se isso trouxe alguma surpresa, sabendo que a Triton tem um banco de dados.
You have collected water in many places. Which were the most remote place that you did that? And among all these collections, which was the most surprising thing that you found out?
So we went to 2014. We went to Komodo with the expedition. That was pretty. We went on a boat, I think 10 days, and just went out. And we lived on the boat, and we went in there. I have a lot of pictures I can send you next time. No problem. I'll show you next time. It was awesome. That was with Vincent. Vincent Chalias was with me on that trip, and my wife was there, and Jake Adams was there. So it was a good trip. And it was very remote because the boat went into very remote areas. And on that place, I also there were a lot of special places to collect samples. So we had a sample place with a field of Goniopora. It was just Goniopora. So there was nothing else, just only Goniopora. And you can look, and it was only Goniopora. And they were all red, but sometimes there was one that was yellow. It was awesome. So it was crazy, like yellow spots in the red field. It was crazy. But on that spot, there was so much cyanobacteria in the sea. There was a lot of cyanobacteria. So it was not on the corals, it was on the ground. But it was crazy. So this place was awesome to take samples from. And we did it 3 times on that spot. So every kind of daytime we could dive there, in the morning, in the evening, and in the midday. And then there was one spot where we went diving just to look around. It wasn't a dive spot, so it was just and it was nothing there. It was just a really big rock out of the sea. And then we just went there diving, and there was actually not too many coral. And then at one spot there was no coral. There was just nothing. It was just rock. And there was no Acropora, no Montipora, no nothing. It was very shallow. It's not that deep, right? So 6 meters, maybe 7. And then I looked down, and there was one big pink spot on one rock, really pink. And I was 6 meters above it. It was so pink. And I went down, and it was zoanthids, just zoanthids, all pink on that spot, and no other coral around it. There was no coral. You cannot believe it. It was Komodo. There is everywhere coral. There was no coral. And I took a sample from there. And that sample, I'm not sure why, but the rock was I think volcanic rock. So it wasn't coral rock. So I take a sample from there, and in this place there was no nutrient. There was no nutrient at all. I haven't had any measurement of phosphorus in this place. It was awesome. And this bright pink, so pink, you don't believe it. It's just awesome. But so it was so nutrient poor, that water. think maybe this pink was just to attract a lot of food. We don't know, you know. So it was just a really awesome place. And then there were so many places, you know. I've been to places where there was so much current that you just drift away. And then there were coral on the ground, like Acropora, this thick. It was so thick, and you can hold on it. It was so strong, you know. It's just that's awesome. Sorry, I just drift. Yeah.
Commodore it's a state from Indonesia, right?
Yeah, correct. Komodo is Indonesia. So it's Komodo, where the dragon is, the big Komodo dragon. Yeah, that area. It's
Então,
we have been.
O lugar mais fantástico que ele relatou ter ido foi em Komodo, né? Famoso pelo dragão de Komodo, que é um estado da Indonésia. E lá ele relatou que ele viu campos gigantescos de gonióporas. Somente gonióporas vermelhas. Em alguns pontos tinham gonióporas amarelas. E o fato disso era que era cheio de cianobactéria. Cheio de cianobactéria. E ele relatou que depois de ele ir mais um pouco, ele chegou num ponto que não tinha nada, só um ponto rosa no meio de uma rocha, não tinha coral nenhum. E ele foi lá e esses corais eram os oantídeos. Os oantídeos rosa, que não se sabe por que estavam dessa cor. E ele coletou a água e não tinha nada de nutrientes, nada de fósforo na água. Então ele imagina que aquela cor foi para atrair mais a comida, não se sabe. Mas isso foi uma das descobertas mais surpreendentes aí que ele achou.
Ô Edu, isso prova, talvez, a importância ou a ligação da cianobactéria com baixíssimos nutrientes, né? Acho que é bom ele saber isso aí também.
That's one thing that Jefferson is telling. Maybe this is because of the low nutrients that there was this cyanobacteria over there.
That's what we're looking at. But we can't say it now, you know. This is the point. You need to wait. You need to get data. And we do. One thing that I want to tell you about this is we're planning another one. We're planning another trip, and it's going to be more remote than that. It's going to be 10 days. It's very crazy. And it possibly is this year. It was planned for this year, but because of Corona, we're not sure yet, but we hope to still do it this year. And you will go crazy. I'm not telling you. It's too good.
Yes.
It's too good. No, you will understand when I tell you. You will understand what I've not told you before, because it's
okay.
It's a dream. It's a dream of mine. You will see. You will see. It's good. Anyway.
Pergunta, Jefferson, de quem?
Nós temos uma pergunta aqui do nosso grande amigo Carlos Moreno, famoso Carlinho das Acróporas. Uma pessoa do time Triton. E ele quer saber se o Rovafos realmente remove alumínio. Porque nós temos uma grande controvérsia, porque o fabricante não cita isso até no próprio site dele, e a gente gostaria que o Ehsan falasse sobre isso.
A question from someone that is from our team, from Team Triton here in Brazil. That's Carlos Moreno, Carlinhos das Acróporas.
Mr. Acropora.
Hello, say hello to Acropora.
Mr. Acropora.
And his question is regarding Rovafos. Can Rovafos remove aluminium or not? Because the fabricant does not say that.
No, they don't say that. They don't know it. It will, but it will do it. It will. So you use it. Yeah, it will do it. So this is what we found out. The same thing, like some of the, there is no real explanation in the moment why a GFO, iron-based phosphate remover, will leach barium, but they do. It's just we don't know why they do. So you see it in the practical. You will see it. So you do it. You put it on, Mr. Acropora, use it. Your aluminium is gone. This is what happened.
Não se tem uma explicação científica ainda não se sabe o porquê, mas vai absorver, assim como não sabe por que vaza bário, por exemplo, algumas mídias, né, o GFO. Vamos fazer uma pergunta da pauta, então. Eu acho que é interessante, Jeff, a gente falar sobre a questão do NCP, né? Do CNP, né?
Exato. Aí eu mostro aqui até o artigo lá também.
Tá. The ability to measure carbon in our reef tanks enlightened our hobby and have opened door for a better comprehension of the relationship between carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus. This changed the old established view of the red field ratio that was especially formulated for a strict algae, but used it as reference. How the data of the ICP and DOC testing was used to formulate this Triton CNP ratio, and how can state it to our community? Is there any data that you could share with us in order to state that?
Actually, the reality is
just a minute. Então, pessoal, com a possibilidade de a gente medir carbono, tá? A gente conseguiu ter uma visão bem mais completa do CNP. Muitas pessoas conhecem isso através da relação de Redfield. Só que ela foi formulada há muito tempo atrás, se baseando em um tipo específico de alga, né? Que a gente utiliza como referência por não ter nada melhor, né? Então, minha pergunta por exceção foi: como que os testes de ICP e NDOC fizeram a formulação do nível Triton, do rateio Triton, né, para o CNP, para o carbono, nitrato e fósforo? E como que a gente pode trazer isso para a comunidade? Quais dados ele pode demonstrar isso para nós? You go, Ehsan.
Okay, so it's pretty easy, you know. It's not that difficult, what I'm going to explain now. Danke, Lindsay. Danke. So I'm getting food, my friend. I'm getting food. It's so good, you know. So good. It's so good. So awesome. No. Oh, stop now. I can't eat anymore. Anyway. No, so the reality is that what we put out as a technical paper is the measurements, the real measurements of NCP in water, right? So NCP ratios were, you call it surrogate measurements. So they took, again, it's the same thing like Redfield is the same system as Barling's trace elements. Mm-hmm. They take something that they know it lives in the water, like the coral skeleton or the algae, and they look for the trace, the composition in that animal. Okay, so but you can also take a whale. You know, you can take a whale and take a piece of the whale and analyze it, and you will see a composition of NCNP, right? But the problem is that you don't keep algae in your aquarium only, or you know, this is not saying anything about the water, the environment around it. Understand? That means that if you don't have the ability to measure the environment, then you go and take something. If you don't have an ICP, then you go and check the coral skeleton to find out how much trace element you need to add. That's a good way to do it. But as soon as you have the tool ICP or NDOC, then you can go and measure the environment, the thing that you after to copy, you know? So one thing that you need to understand is if you check the skeleton of a coral, okay, how much N and how much P do you find in there? How much oxygen do you find in there? The reality is this is not showing you how much N and P the coral have taken in its life. You know, it's not showing you how much N and P is needed in the aquarium water. It's just showing you how much is in the skeleton. There is maybe nothing. You know?
Yes,
So what we did with the NCP ratio is we did a several amount of tests. We did seawater tests, a lot of reef seawater tests. And we looked at what is the ratio in the water. So what is the ratio that people should have at home? And that's what we wrote the technical paper of. So it's nothing specialist. So yeah, go on.
O Redfield, quando ele fez isso, ele pegou uma alga e ele determinou o que tinha dentro daquela alga. Assim como o Balin pegou um coral morto e definiu o que tinha dentro daquele esqueleto do coral morto. Só que isso não traz o quanto ele consumiu na vida, o quanto que ele utilizou, quais coisas ele utilizou. Apenas mostrou que naquele ponto tinha X unidades. Naquela alga tinha tal relação de carbono e nitrato fosfato. Já que nós temos essa ferramenta do ICP e do NDOC, ela não foi utilizada para medir o que tem no coral. Ela foi utilizada para o que tem na água em que o coral vive. E essas medições que não eram possíveis lá em 1934, quando o Redfield fez essa equação, em 74, quando o Balin fez essas análises, tu consegue ter uma visão do que é o ambiente em que os animais saudáveis vivem. E aí está a grande diferença. Esses dados, esses números que são apontados pela Triton como corretos, não são relacionados a uma alga. São relacionados ao ambiente em que corais saudáveis vivem.
So what we show on the paper is actually, it is our findings in these aquariums we tested. You know, it is what we see, which aquarium don't have any problem, have good aquarium, good corals, good fish, everything is fine. And this is what the pattern looks like. The NCP ratio should be in an aquarium. We still keep on, you know.
Some these patterns have been taken out as well from points in the ocean, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Not only aquariums.
No. And in the ocean, funny, but in the ocean, other people have done tests of NCP too, and they're very much matching the same. So NNP especially are very close to what I described in my paper in the ocean, measured from other people, not from us, right? But then we look at the aquarium, because we are the aquarium company, we're not the ocean company, so we need to look at the aquarium. So we look at the aquariums, and it matches that NNP, especially NNP, what we found in the sea, similar will be adaptable into an aquarium. Wait a second, my son's just coming up. Yeah. Oh, geh und sag der Mama. Sorry, man. Just my two sons saying. Anyway, so that's one thing. But the big difference is the C. The C amount in aquariums is something that you need to look at, because C will also, if you have more C, you will reduce NNP in an aquarium. In an aquarium, bacteria will eat the C, some C, and you know, so it's quite variable. So the C amount in an aquarium, because people add a lot of organic carbon sometimes, you know, they add vodka, they add, you know what I mean? Like, this is something that you don't find in seawater. So we needed to look at this too and see what do we find is acceptable to be found in a test, you know, similar to what people did in the past when the first guy measured calcium. So the first guy measured calcium, he went to the sea and measured in the CR. Okay, in seawater is 420, maybe, you know. So then he went to his aquarium and he measured, make it 420. And maybe he looked at it and said, oh yeah, but even if you are 460, there's no problem in the aquarium. You know what I mean? So yes. We did this for a new parameter. And last time in one of my talks, I also said one thing that describes this very, very good. So you understand in which state we are in the science work for aquariums is, you know, modern reef keeping is not about measuring old parameters with new machines. It's measuring new parameters valuable for the aquarium. You understand? So a C value in the moment is valuable, organic C value is valuable for the aquarium because people are adding it like crazy, you know, to do something.
Os dados que foram medidos de carbono, eles não foram somente baseados no oceano, eles foram baseados também em aquários, porque tu tens que ter medidas práticas. Se a gente fosse basear isso, por exemplo, o nitrato e o fosfato seriam mínimos. Só que isso não é prático para a gente manter dentro do aquário. Então, essa questão do carbono, foram analisadas essas duas variáveis e foram estabelecidos uns parâmetros. Como, por exemplo, o cálcio. A primeira pessoa que mediu o cálcio foi lá, mediu no mar e deu 420 ppm. Só que, quando ela testou no aquário dela, ela provavelmente viu que até 460 não tem problema. Então, ali é um nível prático. Ou seja, tem uma diferença entre o mar, entre os números reais do mar, e o que é aceitável dentro do nosso aquário. E nisso foram baseados essas relações de CNP da Triton. Outro ponto ali que ele relatou foi que não se trata apenas de trazer, de medir números já conhecidos com máquinas novas. Trata-se de trazer novos elementos, novas variáveis para dentro do hobby com essas máquinas novas, como por exemplo os elementos traço, como por exemplo o carbono, que era uma coisa que a gente não tinha como medir dentro do nosso hobby.
Ô Edu, acho que dá para adicionar aqui também uma pergunta para ele, que é o seguinte: a gente vê muito aquário no Brasil com nitrogênio alto. Isso o NDOC tem mostrado, nitrogênio alto. E é bem comum nos fóruns hoje a pessoa está com nitrato alto e recomendarem dosagem de carbono e usa removedor de fosfato. E isso causa com que o fosfato caia muito antes do que o nitrogênio ou o nitrato. O que ele tem para dizer de nitrato muito baixo e, fosfato muito baixo e nitrogênio alto ou nitrato?
That's a quite recurring problem over here, that there is a lot of nitrogen compounds really high in Brazil that showed up via the NDOC. And many people don't measure that because they are not familiar with NDOC, and they only see high nitrates and phosphates. And they reduce it quite drastically when using carbon-based organics, and this causes problems. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, it is a bit of it's blind dosing again, you know, it's not modern the way to do it, you know. So you can, if you dose organic carbon, it's because of the bacteria, you cannot control them. You don't know which bacteria will take it. You don't know which, you know, you will grow bacteria. And that's just a dangerous thing. This is why exactly we would use the algae, correct? So it is just too dangerous. I would always just quarter the amount that anybody tells me to add into my aquarium. You can do it, but again, it's a risk. And nitrate and phosphate, like the nutrients in aquariums, are way more dangerous to play with than even trace elements, you know. So I'm not happy with this, but I think that NDOC will change a lot of it. And maybe NDOC will also bring at one point a safe dose of something. You know what I mean? Like you can say, oh, no, you can add vinegar or you can add alcohol to the aquarium, this amount, and you're safe, you know? But in the moment, this is not the case. So you're not safe. If you do these things, I think if I would be asked as an aquarist, I would say you have a problem and you don't have the solution. So you better go and take an algae and put the algae into your sump, and it will solve your problems. Why do you want to control your nutrients with bacteria? There's other ways. Choose another way.
Controlar os níveis de nutriente com fontes de carbono orgânico é muito arriscado. Tu não sabe quais os tipos de bactérias vão estar lá crescendo. E, como nós falamos, isso pode causar uma superpopulação e dar um problema muito grande. Então, sempre procure utilizar macroalgas. As macroalgas são um método conhecido, são um método mais saudável de se fazer isso. E também, né, Jeff, os problemas aí que a gente sempre está tendo, né, em relação a esses níveis de nitrogênio, de compostos nitrogenados altos. A grande maioria é SAMP sujo, é falta de circulação. Quais outros problemas que tu viu nisso?
Carga orgânica no substrato, né? Muita alimentação, se tem muitos peixes no aquário, e isso já de um bom tempo. E aí, obviamente, que não adianta, a gente já descobriu que não adianta você continuar dosando carbono para tentar baixar isso aí, porque uma coisa é o carbono que está na água, mas a carga orgânica que está na água em si, e a carga orgânica que está no substrato, que está lá encrostado lá dentro, ou está no SAMP, ou está nas rochas.
Eu tinha problemas de cianobactérias em alguns pontos do aquário. O meu nitrato era 0,5, 0,2 e o meu fosfato era 0,04, mas eu tinha esse problema. Quando eu fiz o teste do NDOC, eu vi que a proporção de nitrogênio para nitrato, que deveria ser 0,33 segundo os dados da Triton, estava em 1,33, 1,44. Então, quando eu corrigi isso, aumentando a circulação na superfície, quando eu corrigi isso limpando o sample, que estava imundo, cara, uma vergonha, uma vergonha que a gente vai deixando para depois. O cara terminou com tudo, né? Equilibrou, manteve esse equilíbrio aí que a gente consegue encontrar simplesmente com o NDOC, né? Hoje eu acho que não tem nenhuma outra forma da gente medir essa questão de carbono total dentro do aquário, né?
Vou aproveitar e pegar aqui, ó, só uma pergunta, então, antes da gente chegar para o final. Tá aqui já, Edu. Quando o Triton Learn vai estar disponível?
Ehsan, the biggest question now.
Yes.
When Triton Learn is going to be available?
When we don't have any competition anymore. No, that's so just joking. Nah. So we actually working on it. It's a bit of a baby of our programmer. So he's very much into it. He's doing GIFs but he want to have a bit of content there before we launch it. So it's not too long anymore. We already have some videos there. We have some stuff in the background that is very technical, like very practical. So you show people how to use the interface, and when you have a test, what you do, things like that. It's a lot of content marketing behind Triton Learn too. So that's what it's about. And then we will have Vincent, Julian, and May put in a bit of science work there too. So that's a bit of difficult, but it still works. So we also put some stuff on ResearchGate very soon. I think it's not too long anymore, about the Triton method. So so Triton Learn we'll try to keep it for everybody, which is a bit difficult. So we have some stuff.
Year?
Sorry?
Can we expect it this year?
Yes, yeah. So Corona helped a lot. Triton Learn, because programming was still keeping going on, so it was good. But it will be this year. So I think we'll start it very soon though, because we're changing some stuff in the moment to the NDOC. That's what the people are asking for. So to the results of the NDOC and how to use supplementation. And with this, I think we will start a batch of a part of Triton Learn too.
Esperamos que seja logo. O Ehsan me falou que vai ser este ano ainda. E o Corona ajudou bastante nessa parte aí, que eles puderam se dedicar para isso. Então vai ser tratado vários vídeos, várias formas de interpretação de resultados, muita coisa de marketing que vai estar sendo lançada, e é um projeto muito querido, e é por isso que está sendo feito com tanto cuidado, né? How Triton, como que a Triton está ajudando a preservar os recifes de corais, e quais atos de preservação ambiental foram a partir de iniciativas deles? Ehsan, how Triton is helping to preserve the reefs, and which acts are being done for environmental protection fomented by scientific initiatives from Triton Labs?
Well, there's actually quite a bit that we do. We have several projects that we do. We are not a here you go. We're not a what do you call it? We work with universities and people together from the government, but because we are a private organization, we kind of run our own little projects and share the data, So what we do is, I'm not sure if you can, that's actually a diver of Cairns Marine taken a sample. I've shown that on one of my talks in Brazil even. So we work with other private organizations, like with Cairns Marine, like other collectors that collect water samples, try to learn of them. But we also have related to collecting projects, like there was a cyanide testing project that we did. So for collected, like people collect fish with cyanide, and that causes a lot of problems. We can't go on there because there's a big lobby, and they kind of, you know, try to always inhibit a bit of progress there, but it's fine. It's the way it is. They're all non-profit things. Like, you know, we don't do that just to make a new product. We actually don't have an interest in the product. We look at what, in a moment, Julian and me, we're trying to get a lot of tests from rivers here, like river water that is going into the sea, because a lot of people here, they use a anti plant, like herbicide, you know, a herbicide to control the growth of the plants, because in tropics they grow like crazy. So they do this, and we try to see if any of how much of like waste and nutrient and pollution is going into the sea from the rivers. So really to define how much maybe a change into the human behavior would help the reef to stay safe. You know what I mean? Because what you see in the aquarium is that often it is not one problem causing a death of a coral or a death of a fish. It's often a sum of things. Like, you know, you have too hot water and algae and low phosphate, and all these three causes the main issue. But one of them, maybe too hot water alone, wouldn't be a big issue. You know what I mean? Like, you often see this pattern in like things like an aquarium. So we think, why should it only be the heat of the summer bleaching the corals, which is also a man-made thing, you know? But maybe because you see some reefs are bleached, some are not, you know? And is it then really the temperature of the water? Because you know what I mean? Like, is there maybe another trigger that caused the one reef to stay healthy and the other one not? You know, and things like that we're actually looking at in the moment. Do you have
an idea of what could be causing that, since you're working so closely to it?
Yes, so so there is one scientist that brought out a paper 2019 that looks at photo-oxidative stress of coral reefs, you know, so it's bleaching of course, so we call it photo-oxidative. And it's showing, the paper is showing that a heat bleaching is looking exactly like a organic carbon bleaching. So if you add organic carbon into a aquarium, then you get the same look of bleaching, like you would heat up the water. So things like that shows you that maybe it's not only a bleaching effect of one parameter being off, like the heat, you know. Maybe the heat, because it's not like you always getting hotter than the last year. Is maybe not the point, you know what I mean? Like, the water is maybe not getting 1 degree hotter than last year and the bleaching is worse. Maybe it's just hotter, but something else is there that causes more bleaching that year. And this year it was very bad, the bleaching. It was after 2016, it was one of the worst bleaching events. And it went all the way to the south. So it was not only in the north, it also went to the south of the barrier reef. So it's not making very much sense, because in the south it's often more cold water. You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of things like that don't make, like, they give you a opportunity to go there and have a look. And this is what we do, and we can measure organic carbon, so it's maybe a thing to look at. You know.
As contribuições da Triton estão baseadas principalmente no fornecimento de dados e trabalho conjunto com algumas universidades, né? Relatamos principalmente sobre a questão do branqueamento dos corais, que estão acontecendo com determinada frequência na Austrália, lá na Grande Barreira. E os pontos que estão sendo trazidos é que não é só, acredita não ser somente relativo a, por exemplo, o calor, que podem existir e que devem existir outros parâmetros que afetam. Ele relatou que os sinais de branqueamento de corais por causa do calor são muito parecidos com quando se acontece uma overdose de carbono orgânico nos aquários das nossas casas. Então, talvez exista essa relação, que não somente o calor, porque a temperatura está sempre aumentando e subindo, mas o que pode ter acontecido é uma segunda variável, uma terceira, uma quarta, que não foi simplesmente analisada. E um dos eventos que houve no ano passado de branqueamento foi um dos mais agravantes, e que não aconteceu somente no norte, onde a temperatura da água é mais quente, mas também aconteceu em toda a costa, inclusive no sul, onde a água é mais fria. Ou seja, existe algum parâmetro a mais além do calor que foi ocasionado pelo homem. Talvez existam outros fatores. E agora estão iniciando os testes em águas dos rios que desovam dentro do mar, que saem no mar e que podem trazer contaminantes, principalmente contaminantes herbicidas, que é usado com muita frequência para inibir ervas daninhas que nascem lá, para inibir pestes que trazem lá. Então, esse trabalho que está sendo feito vai estar sendo feito levando em consideração aos contaminantes que possam estar chegando no mar através do rio.
Yeah. So just one thing that I want to add is we possibly cannot change the heat, you know, but if there's anything else that we could change, maybe gives you an opportunity to help the reef, you know. But one thing else that we do here is quite I wasn't aware of this when I came here, but you know, you talk to people over here, and there are people that live on this reef for years, you know, like since they're born, and they're into marine biology. And there's one guy at Kent's Marine that I talked to him, and he said to me, he's an older guy, and he said to me, he said there was a river where he lived in the past, and that river, they built a dam to keep the water for the people. You know, the river went into the sea, but they built the dam when he was a young kid. They built this dam, and now there's no water going into the ocean anymore, right? So fresh water, and there was a big amount of algae growing in front of, you know, the river, like at the beach, and then all of the algae by the years went away because there was nothing or nutrients coming from the river anymore. And it got a really awesome coral reef in front of that beach, you know. So, and he told this to me because the people there now, they're all saying, oh my God, we had such a nice reef and it's dying, you know, and they're younger people, so they don't know that there was no reef before. So they're saying, oh, our reef is dying and bleaching and whatever. And, you know, and he says to me, and this is not a real reef because this is not an old reef. It's just a reef because people build a dam. So you need to understand that the opposite around is possible too, you know. So you need to, this is a really interesting part of it. So you talk to people and you don't know anybody that was here 1,000 years ago. You know, so you don't actually know what, you only see the last 20, 30, 40 years. And this is nothing for a reef. It's no time, you know. So it's very interesting to actually look at a lot of things more than just what's happening right now, you know. To learn from the past, I think it's important for a reef because a reef is way slower than what we live like, you know. So look at this thing would be an interesting thing too. Just to let you know, it's because it was mind-blowing for me that this guy told me, you know, it's just, oh, wow.
Caso muito interessante que o Ehsan contou foi que quando eles chegaram lá, uma pessoa, um local veio contar para ele que em determinada localidade não existia recife de corais antes. Antes tinha um rio, e esse rio ele chegava no mar. Só que quando ele era criança, construíram uma represa para abastecer a cidade. E o rio que antes chegava no mar não chegava mais. Lá havia um monte de alga, um monte de vegetação que deixou de existir. e no local apareceu um grande recife de corais, um lindíssimo recife de corais. Então, quando hoje está existindo esse branqueamento, muitas pessoas reclamam, mas não sabiam que ali é artificial, ali não surgiu pela natureza, surgiu apenas porque as pessoas fizeram uma represa. Então, tu sempre tem que analisar e entender o porquê. Sempre tem mais de uma variável, mais de uma explicação, e tu tem que analisar o todo. Então, isso é um caso bem bacana que o Ehsan está trazendo para nós aí. Vamos fazer mais uma última pergunta, Jeff? Como é que vamos tocar?
Vamos, tá ótimo. 3 horas de live aqui, senão o teu público...
I understand that. I think we need to do another one. I think we need to do another one. Yeah.
Yes, we need to do another one, because actually we have 8 or 10 questions, and I believe that we answer only 2 of 10.
Yeah, no problem. I'm happy with that. So
man, that was really enlightening to hear all the logic inside of the Core 7. For myself, I would stay in that topic for much longer, but it's really it's as we started, I believe it was quite perfect, because there is a base knowledge that we need to share.
Yes.
Então, pessoal, tem uma base de conhecimento que a gente precisa mostrar. E esse conhecimento que o Ehsan trouxe lá nos primeiros minutos, lá sobre qual é o conceito do Core 7, como que ele foi feito, é muito interessante. Então, se vocês estão usando o método Triton, façam um refúgio de macroalgas correto. Ele é importante. O método Triton Core 7 foi feito para isso. Se tu não tiver 10 a 20% de alga, de macroalga, tu não vai estar fazendo as coisas certas, e isso vai trazer um resultado negativo. Eu entendi certo ou não entendi, Jeff?
É isso aí. Requerimentos. Seguir a risco.
Seguir a risco o negócio, porque isso cria um padrão, e tu vai ter um padrão de consumo que vai ser atendido pelos produtos.
You're just saying that they have to follow by the book, the Triton method. Not try to reinvent the wheel.
Nah, it's all right. We yes.
Go ahead.
Edo can actually set up the next one, and invite all the skeptical people, and we answer their questions. And I'm happy with that. You just tell me when, and I'm there. Okay. And if you do it in the morning for me, it's easy. Like today, easy.
Ehsan, einmal würde ich sagen, dass ich wirklich freue, uns Sie hier zu haben. Und ja, das war wirklich enlightening. Und ich wünsche Sie noch einen schönen Tag und vielen Dank, Sie hier mit uns sein.
Dankeschön, euch auch einen wunderschönen Tag. Ok?
Pessoal, muito obrigado. Deixem um joinha, se inscrevam no canal que não inscreveu. Reef Tech também é um grande parceiro nosso, um grande amigo. Acompanhem sempre, a gente está aí. E vamos lá, vamos até o próximo Super Reef aí, pessoal.
Bye, bye. Es war eine Ehre. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Bye, bye.
Bis zum nächsten Mal.
Just take 10 seconds, Ehsan, okay? Don't hang up. Okay,
no worries. Yeah.
They're live.
Fechou, pessoal. So that was quite good, Ehsan. I really